Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of FPL BlackBox with me, as sober as. And how many cocktails down, Mark, are you?
Oh, I've only had a few. I'm a bit tipsy. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Hello, London. Here is the scores from the Bulgarian jury. Wajirani, nil point. I thought I'd just get a
Very nice.
Eurovision reference in there as I'm against the background.
It was a clever link of I mean, no one knows you're in Bulgaria, so the kind of...
No, well, exactly.
It's a little bit lost.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah. How are you? Are you having fun over there? Having a nice time?
I'm working. I'm working. Yeah, it's a lovely city, and I was determined to go with a setup that meant I could stream from the hotel room.
I'm very impressed.
On my new camera, and my new microphone, so seems to be working okay. Hopefully, chat can hear me, and it's all good. But yeah, no, and God, the international break is dragging, isn't it? Oh my word!
I think this is the word. I mean, I've kind of enjoyed it in a way because it's given me a chance just to kind of. Just to switch off for a bit and just.
Well, yeah, you're having a mare.
You know, it's been a pretty intense last couple of weeks, but I think they've got to do something with the format of these international breaks because they're just. No one likes them, do they? The players don't like them. The managers, I saw a thing which was like, why not just do all of the qualifying like at the end of the season, like in
just get
in a couple of weeks.
Figure something out because we've had injuries again as well. That's the problem. It's like. Normally we get like the phantom international break injuries, but the last couple we've actually had a couple. We've had injuries that have affected our teams. So yeah, get me a glass of water. I'm fine, Harry. How dare you? I don't know how I'm going to be in an hour's time because it is gone 11 here in Sofia. So it's alcohol and fatigue, and listening to Az will probably all contribute to me being delirious within an hour. I can't wait. I mean. Counting down the days. I see these people on Twitter doing countdowns to when FPL is back.
Really?
And I say, I kind of agree with it. It's I'm counting every hour.
We should put one on this stream, shouldn't we? Just to count down to the next deadline. Yeah. As a West Ham fan, this has been hell, says Dean McKinney. Oh God, Kudus and Bowen and Antonio as well. Been 3 injuries, isn't it?
Oh. Yeah, I mean they're in suddenly looking. 1 minute they look like they have a wealth of attacking options. Now they're actually, where are they? Are they Mubama deep now? Are they in?
Is he finally gonna? Have you? You haven't still got him, have you? You've switched to.
I've still got him.
You've still got him.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going.
That'll be just your luck. He gets a run of games and ends up.
Is he still there? Did he go?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, so who knows? He might get on at least. So, we should say that lovely neon sign behind you. Is it making its debut tonight?
It is.
Yeah.
It was. Well, it was on. It was on the Q&A I did earlier with David. But yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Neon filter. Did that. It's pretty cool, and it's weird because like we've swapped around. Normally, you're the one with all the lights and the tech and stuff, and I'm just here with nothing. It kind of looks a bit out of place. I need to spend some of that super chat money Delia gave us on some more neon lights. Remember, she said get some neon lights with that.
Yeah. I'm sure the members are very glad that the money that they're contributing to BlackBox is going on such paraphernalia as neon signs above Az's head. Money well spent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of super chats and members, thank you to our new Godfather tier members. We've got Veghorse and we've got Alexei Shilko, both joined sort of over the international break. And Mark, there's been an exciting new development on the Godfather tier, hasn't there?
Yeah, the Discord server is up, and Billy and Nigel Crab are doing an amazing job setting that up. And Billy's done a great job doing some admin for us.
Billy I love it so much. I love it so much. What did he say the other day? It was just something that was really like...
Yeah, well, I put an early preview of the because basically members get the occasional early preview of videos before they go live on YouTube, and I posted it up a day early. This was my walkabout, recent walkabout I published on Monday. I stuck it up on the Discord on Sunday night, and then I scheduled it for Monday morning. When you schedule on YouTube, it goes from being unlisted to private, and then that meant no one on Discord could see it. And he went on and explained that in very, very good actual terms. He did a very good job of moderating that and giving an explanation. And he always said, apologies for the inconvenience.
Apologies. As well. How old is he? How old is Billy?
11.
The best one was in the because we set up like a Discord WhatsApp chat, didn't we? And wasn't like Simon complaining about the trains, and Billy went, yes, these like darn transport links around the south.
Yeah,
of the
like
country.
he's like a 30-year-old commuter. What do you know about getting on the train? It's unbelievable.
Love it.
Yeah,
So
he's absolutely loving getting involved with that.
Yeah.
And Nigel did an amazing job, as did some of the testers that helped out. And yeah, come and join. We've got the WhatsApp group still going, but Discord gives us that extra dimension. And we're going to do like watch along events for members where we watch games together in Discord, voice chat, or with cameras on and whatever. So we're figuring out how to use it, but it's a new perk for members, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. No, it's really cool when you can talk about coffee and all the other stuff. We've got 10 more spots left in the WhatsApp chat. Then that's going to close kind of forever because we'll have 50, and that'll be it really for WhatsApp. Then it'll all move over to Discord. So we should put the link to the regular Discord in the description. But then if you want to be a Godfather tier member, then you get all the extra perks that come with it. So check it out. Why not? Right, let's get into some FPL stuff. We don't need to talk too much about my game week because we covered it in the team selection video that you joined me for last week, which was really fun. But I'm sure you all know the story of my week by now. Played the bench boost by accident, got Simicast's points, got 90 points. It was good.
Has it sunk in yet? Or how are you feeling about the bench boost a week or so later? Are you kind of like... I mean, obviously there'll be an optimum time of playing the bench boost, but I don't think that even then, unless events go our way with the fixtures, that the bench boost will get more than between 20, 25. That's what it normally brings in. So I don't think you should be that disappointed.
I'm over the moon. I'm the opposite of that. I think like we talked about last week, I would have done Destiny Adogi to Livramento for a -4 and bench Simicast, which would have been a 19-point loss if I hadn't played the bench boost. So I'm taking the 18 points that it got me, but I'm also if I had lost out on 18 points by doing that move, I would have been absolutely devastated.
It was close to disaster, wasn't it?
It was very close.
And admit it, does the fact that I had Simicast on my bench make it even sweeter for you?
Yes,
you can say it.
Yes, it does. 74 points for you, so I caught up sort of, I don't know, 12 points on that. But a bit of a disaster with your bench. I mean, Palmer over Lascelles as well. That's not a very Mock Southerns this season move.
Yeah, I don't know if I need an inquest into that. I mean, I think that, Bournemouth away on paper could have been a fixture that, returned a clean sheet. I guess it's the Newcastle fatigue that I kind of played down a bit in my thinking there. I mean, you're going to play Trippier every week because of the attacking potential, but Lascelles is there for weeks where the fixtures are good, I guess, and was Bournemouth away a good fixture? In hindsight, not after Champions League games. So, and Bournemouth are clearly on the up as well, hence that people are looking at Solanke at the moment. I don't know if we're going to talk about him later, but yeah, I think in hindsight I should have played Palmer. It wasn't an easy fixture for Palmer, of course, but he seems to be coming out with every game with something, doesn't he? He can't get penalties every game, but it has been going that way. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. I got a very small red, and the fact that I own Palmer and Simicast when people did sell Simicast, and there are people out there, plenty of managers who don't own Palmer. I'm still happy with the team overall, so I'm all right. It's all good.
It was a weird week weird couple of weeks for Simicast because he was really popular and went up in price, and then he got benched and so dropped in price, and then came back into the team and has gone up in price again. It's like I think he's up to 4.6 now, so he's had 0.2 rise for some people who got him at 0.4, at 4.4. But yeah, he's still a bit of a. I mean, if we just go back to my defence quickly, my defence is Livramento, Gabriel, Simicast, Kabore, and the one I'm looking to sell out of my defence is Cash.
It is Cash.
It's the only one that's actually guaranteed to play every week. So, yeah, it's a funny time for defenders, isn't it? Because it's hard to know kind of who the best standout options are, really.
We are all shopping for a defender, I think, at this point, because Cash is obviously well owned and he's going into games against Arsenal and City. And also he's flagged. I think he's going to be okay. But the fixtures are tough. Like going to Spurs, I don't expect a clean sheet there. And I think looking at the data, there's been a clear drop-off in his attacking data in terms of XGI and touches in the box and so on. And Villa haven't been keeping clean sheets, certainly away from home, and been conceding silly goals. Martinez made an error at Forest, for example. So I think that... Yeah, we got cash in really mainly for the fact that they look solid, but actually it was the attacking potential because he was topping out for XGI across defenders. I'm sure when we look at defenders, he's still up there. But the fixtures are tough, so it's almost looks very unlikely that in 3 of the next 4 clean sheets are going to come when it's Spurs, City, and Arsenal, and the other game is Bournemouth, which Bournemouth at the moment look like they've got some confidence. So you'd expect them to probably cause Villa problems. So I don't see a clean sheet, more than one clean sheet in that run. So then you're banking on the attacking returns, and they haven't been coming, and he hasn't really been showing up like he was in the first 5 to 6 game weeks in recent weeks in terms of getting on the end of things. He's been supplying Watkins. To be fair, he has put chances across for Watkins, and Watkins has missed a couple that would have obviously boosted Catch's output. But I don't know. I think he's a sell.
But then he also got lucky with the clean sheet when he went off the pitch, and then they conceded. So it could have kind of gone either way. I just want to do a quick shout out to Dean McKinney in the chat. Just found out his fiance is pregnant, first baby on the way.
Oh, congrats, Dean!
Hearing how awesome kids are makes me happy. Yeah, if you can get an 11-year-old that helps you out with your Discord channel, then you've done quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I mean, it will change things for you, but hopefully you still have. But I found I had more time for FPL because you're up at very odd hours with the kid when they're a baby, and you get to spend a lot of time researching at 3 o'clock in the morning and very early in the morning. So use that time wisely, Dean, and hopefully your FPL team will benefit.
Love that. Let's take a look at the great and the good. Pretty boring week in terms of captaincy, except for one rogue manager who absolutely made the wrong choice. Everyone went for Salah or Haaland this week, except for me. I went for Watkins.
Were you surprised at that? Were you surprised you were in such a minority? I mean, it wasn't just in this league, but across the game, Watkins was really not backed, wasn't he?
I think it's one of those weeks where, and I think it's similar to this week. There's not a clear and obvious captain choice. I think you could maybe have argued that Salah was, given his home record, but I think I expected Brentford to put up a bit more of a fight. So I don't know. It was a week where I think a lot of people weren't really sure kind of where to go, so they were just defaulting to the consistent players that you pay all the money for, and I can kind of see why. So I just don't think we're just not going to see much divergence in the captaincy this season. It's going to be Haaland, occasionally Salah, when Salah has a slightly better game, and that's going to be it. I think this week, the vast majority are going to go for Haaland again.
I think you're unlucky.
Yeah, I was unlucky. I was very unlucky this week.
Because I started the game week when I was looking at the captaincy, I thought, if you looked at Salah, Haaland, and Watkins, I thought the difference between the 3 of them would be, maybe one return. I, like you, didn't expect Brentford to give up the goals they did to Liverpool. This was probably the first game in quite a run where Salah did deserve to come out with the point.
That's what I thought as well.
So I guess you can't really begrudge Salah captain as the points because he actually did take his goals well and Liverpool did create again. And in fact, there was probably another chance that Darwin could have converted for another assist. So, and as for Haaland, maybe a soft penalty, but I think again that was a game of goals that I didn't see that ending 4-4. There was no way we could have predicted that. I thought that would be a tight affair. So I did think you wouldn't, if it went against you, I didn't think it would go against you to the scale it did.
Yeah, I think it is tough because we all know this, but you're not just backing against your player doing well. You're also having to back against these 2 premium assets. Failing to get points, and you do have to ask yourself sometimes whether the risk is kind of worth it, because Watkins would have had to have hit a mega haul for that to have been worth it. I think the Haaland one I'm a little bit more annoyed about, and I had it on Haaland for most of the week, but like you say, Salah looked back to what we're used to, and whether that's the kind of anomaly or whether the season's been, we kind of have to wait and see. But
do you think you used EO in a negative way there, in that you went Watkins almost to go against the EO?
Definitely.
Because of where you are ranked.
Oh, right? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I looked at it and just thought Salah hasn't been playing, that well from an attacking sense, and he's been getting returns, but I felt they were a bit lucky, and I think Brentford had put up a test. I looked at Chelsea at home and thought that's not a great fixture. I thought that would be a lot tighter than it was. I don't think anyone was expecting a 4-4 in that match. And then I looked at Villa, the amount of goals they'd scored at home, and the opposition, Fulham being one of the weakest defences, and just thought, okay, I think this is going to be a time when everyone sort of defaults to Salah and Haaland when maybe they're not completely comfortable with that. Maybe if they, if there was another option, they might go for it. But yeah, so at my rank, I kind of went for it, and I was saved my blushes really by the accidental bench boost, amazingly. So it's not a complete disaster. I still went up sort of a million places, but it could have been a really nice week. But a good week generally for the great and the good. Only 5.
Yeah, a lot of green.
Yeah, 5 red arrows. Another green arrow. Oh no, a red arrow for you this time. You get a red arrow in the great and the good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Did you get a red arrow?
Yeah, you shouldn't give me a green. I got a red arrow.
Oh my god! Well, let's change that.
What are you doing? You're going to change it live on the stream to make sure that I don't get credit for a green. Unbelievable.
Don't get many of these days.
While you do that, I'm going to change my glasses because I'm of an age now where I need 2 pairs of glasses. Would you believe?
Oh, you might have to stick with the green.
I'm not going to the minibar, honestly.
Oh, you definitely are, aren't you? I need Mark to stall while I do that. But yeah, no. Interesting. I mean, this week again, I think is a week where we're going to see captains maybe changing around a little bit. There's potential, I think, for someone to get a decent haul. Watkins against Spurs again, potentially Son against Villa. But like I said, I think the majority of people are still going to default to Haaland. I don't think we're going to see too many Salah captains this week, even though
not a City.
No, it might present a good option, but I think it's going to be it's going to be mostly Haaland. Yeah. Anything to add on any of this? Andy North's doing all right, isn't he? Holding his own.
Let's not talk about that. Let's go. Let's skirt over that really quickly. No, I'm joking. Well done, Andy. He's doing well, and we need him to do well to keep the reputation of this podcast.
Don't you start. I was in your situation being so nice last year.
Well, forget about last season now. We've moved on, and it's all about this season.
How many points is it between us? It's
85.
85.
Not that I counted. Look at that. I know off by heart, almost like I've checked that.
I can recover
and write it on my wall.
That's about what it was last year, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
But you got an extra chip.
Yeah, and I had that very fortunate week where I went Wilson and you went Isaac. And will that happen again? Because that was a huge swing, wasn't it?
That was an awful.
Did he get like 5 goals and a couple of assists to Isaac's 1 assist or something ridiculous?
I think he got 20. He got about 25 points and he 26 points, something like that.
Yeah, and you didn't have him, and I captained him.
52 points in 1 week, just on that.
Yeah, so that was the point I overtook you, wasn't it? With like 3 or 4 game weeks to go, you were quite incredulous. But I don't. You need something like that, and I don't know. I mean, looking at our teams at the moment, we will later on. Obviously, the problem is that our teams are quite similar, so you need to try and.
Except you've got 3 million extra in the bank somehow over me.
Yes, that's against you as well. So at the moment, it is stacked against you, but plenty of time.
Yeah, we'll see. It's not going to be any time before Christmas, I don't think, but maybe after that. Shout out to Nigel the Crab. He says,
Nigel.
More money from Nigel. You don't need to give us anything, Nigel, but thank you so much. A massive appreciation to you, Az and Mark. Thank you all you do. Life got real this week, and I'm still coming to terms with that. Very thankful for your black box and this community.
Hope you're okay, Nigel.
Yeah, wishing you and your family all the best, Nigel. I know it's been a particularly tough week for you and the family. So yeah, sending you all of our love. Let's talk about team data. Let's have a look at team data defense. We can bust out the last 6 graphics now. I think we kind of put those off, but we've kind of got the comparisons between the season and the last 6. Arsenal though, right at the top. We talk about every week. Away, they just don't concede, do they? They're very, very impressive, and a lot of people buying in Bumo this week because of the Mitoma and Bowen news. Bit early.
Oh, well, I think it is 1 week early. I get it. I mean, there's a price rise going on tonight, and obviously a lot of the Bowen exit plans will involve getting Mbumo in for the Luton game week 14. Would they go into Arsenal at home expecting a return? I don't think they would, but I guess they feel that there's possibility of that. He's on pens, of course, and on set pieces. It's whether Arsenal will concede. I don't think they will. I think they will win this game. I don't think Brentford are in amazing shape. They are quite inconsistent still for me. And against a strong side and a strong defence, I think Arsenal will win that game 2-0. But maybe I'll be wrong. If Brentford score and Bumo's got a good chance of returning, he's got a heavy goal involvement, I imagine, for them. He's been amazing. There's no doubt about it. But I think, obviously, for game week 14, he becomes not essential, but I think you're going to...
I'm seeing that word used for him.
Well, Brian, essential.
Yep.
No, I mean, the reason why I say it's a bit like Watkins previously when you said you were terrified of Watkins. I think I'm not terrified of not owning Mbeumo because I don't see him coming in with like a 15 to 20 pointer. He's capable, but I just don't see it. Even against Luton, who will put up a fight and they will have a low block and they are strong on set plays, so they're not going to concede to Brentford's long throws or corners, I don't think. I think if they do, Luton will be very disappointed. So I think Brentford will have to break them down in open play, and that's not going to be easy. So I don't think that's going to be a 4-0, and Mbeumo comes out with 15 to 20 points. So I think he returns. So not having him is a worry, but I'm not as terrified as you were about Watkins the week you did.
You were right about that in the end. He wasn't actually that terrifying.
Well, he did well in that immediate game, but he hasn't proved to be since, has he? So, and in fact, now we're considering selling him even. So, yeah, I think it is the week too early for Brian, but I get the logic because obviously if it's a player that you want to get, you're getting him a week early, and it's okay playing him in a home game, even against Arsenal. So I get it.
You see, I think it's Big Man Bakar bought in Mbeumo, even though he's got double Arsenal defence, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't really like that. If I can avoid, I mean, I've got Diaby this week, and I will be selling Diaby next week for Mbeumo,
yeah, I'll probably do
in all likelihood. And I'm making a transfer this week to make sure I've got the budget to absorb Mbeumo's price rise so I can still get to him. Because I imagine that's the transfer I'm going to want to make Diaby to Mbeumo. But I'm not going to lose Diaby before Spurs just for 0-1. Because, I mean, how do you think that Spurs game's going to go? I mean, like the high lines, they're going to be playing within 10 yards of each other. It's going to be.
I've gone
and
for
it could
goals.
Be crazy.
I've gone for goals in that one.
Have you?
Yeah,
right.
I've gone for quite a few goals in that one. I mean, those two. I don't know what's happened to the badges on this. Aston Villa have got Fulham's badge. Liverpool have got Aston Villa's badge.
Sorry.
I don't know what's happened there.
I didn't notice that.
That's weird. I've only just seen it as well. But
yeah,
Spurs over the season. I mean, team data defence. They're in 17th. I mean, that is not good at all. Let's have a look at them over the last 6 as well, because so over the last 6, they are 15th.
Even worse.
Yeah. So it's not. I mean, it's pretty dire, which is ironic given that he will most likely be playing for Dyer and Davies or something.
1.53 XG non-penalty per 90 over the last 6 matches Spurs have conceded, puts them 15th. So when we get to attack, I mean, Villa aren't anywhere near as potent away from home, but I think for me it's the pace, isn't it? Against a high line, Watkins and Diaby could potentially be very, damaging to Spurs. So, but equally, you'd expect Son to cause Villa's defence problems. Villa's defence 6th for the season. Where are they for the last 6? 1.01 over the season. XG conceded non-penalty. But last 6, strong, still 5th, 1.06. So no big major difference. So defensively sound.
It's difficult to judge them, isn't it? Because they
find a way to concede, don't they?
Yeah, especially away from home. They're like two different chalk and cheese, like at home versus. But,
and if you look at the fixtures, their last 6 has been the easiest of any team in the league. 2.57 on the BlackBox ticker. So. Although we're saying over the last 6 they're the 5th best defence, they have had the best fixtures in that run. So that should be factored in. Whereas Spurs have also had good fixtures, 2.83, with a worst XG conceded non-penalty. So I think the Spurs defence is the most suspect with the injuries they got. Do you think Maddison is a factor at both ends of the pitch as well? Do you think they're going to have less control without Maddison there?
Yeah, for sure. I think we saw it in games earlier in the season, didn't it? When Maddison did drop back and was kind of orchestrating things. And, I don't think he's necessarily the biggest part, but he's a big part of how they control build-up and play. And then you take out the 2 centre-backs as well at the back. It's just, it's not good news for them. I mean, this data is worrying. It does actually make me think maybe a Watkins captain again might actually be a bit of a shrewd move. I think maybe a Watkins or a Son. I think that's got to be the game that we'd expect the most goals in, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could easily be a 1-1 or even a 1-0, but I think if you're looking at the fixtures this week and trying to identify a game which will have 4 or more goals, that would be a leading contender, I would say.
Yeah.
And tactically, it's hard to imagine how the two managers approach it, because we know Ange doesn't like to break from his philosophy. Villa certainly played a high line at Forest the last away game, and Forest nearly exploited that, and perhaps should have got more out than 2 goals, because 2 or 3 times we nearly broke that high line, and one time Awani got brought down and there was an offside in the build up, but it was close. So Spurs, you'd think, would be show more expertise at exploiting that high line with Son. So yes, I would be very surprised if there's not 3 or more goals in the game.
Yeah, Forest right down in 19th. I know the fixtures haven't been great, but I mean you've got a very confident prediction for the Black Box derby at the weekend.
Yeah, it's the Black Box derby. I'll be going. I'll be taking some footage.
I was going to go, but then tickets were like £200, and I was like, I ain't paying that.
Well, our hospitality is of a very high level, as Yelena will testify.
Well, she was actually quite disappointed last time she went. Yeah,
I know. But I think with Matoma out, that's a big blow for you. Ferguson's out as well.
He might not be. He was on the bench, I think, for Ireland. So, but there's something a bit dodgy with him.
I still think that defensively, I think you're there for the taking. I think we'll get a couple of goals. I don't know how many you'll score past us at the moment. So yeah, I mean, this data suggests you'll get a goal, but I think our fixtures have been fairly tough. But overall, over the season, our defence has been pretty solid, and particularly obviously at the City Ground as well. So
yeah. Other teams I want to mention here is Everton in third, obviously,
and Wolves in second.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's probably not some of the teams you'd be expecting. I mean, Wolves have just been, just so impressed with the results they've been getting and the performances, and obviously Neto goes out and they lose to Sheffield United. Everyone thinks the worst, and they come back and beat Spurs in the last minute. But Everton, I mean, they've had arguably the rockiest international break with this 10-point deduction, which amazingly hasn't even put them in the bottom place, is it? They're still are they still above? Are they above Luton still?
I think they're on 4 points, aren't they?
Yeah, so they've got to be hopeful they're still going to stay up even with that deduction. If you told me at the start of the season they'd get a 10-point deduction and stay up, I would have questioned it. But there's clearly something good kind of happening.
I mean, we're seeing it, aren't we? They are. The data has shown that they're more potent in attacking terms. The eye test has shown that they've got a threat about them. I think they were unfortunate to concede as many goals as they did early season. I mean, as a Pickford owner, I would say that, but they experienced, I think, several 1-0 defeats at home, fairly late goals as well, having dominated those games for much of them. I mean, I think what we've seen, again, they're a bit inconsistent. I mean, I think the United game, because of what's happened to them, that adversity will probably rouse the spirit even further. It certainly will amongst the Goodison Park faithful. United will get a hell of a reception. Everton will be up for the game. They'll have a point to prove. They come to Forest the week after. I'm really worried because I think, the last thing we needed was Everton getting those 10-point deduction in terms of that particular game. I mean, obviously it's a good thing for Forest because it puts a potential relegation rival behind. But I think in the context of the game at the City Ground, I'm now more worried because Everton will turn up with that kind of mentality of it's us against the world, and they'll certainly have that against United. I mean, that is an ideal fixture to bounce back off of the break with the points.
Yeah. We've both gone for an Everton win in that one as a bit of a spoiler for the predictions coming later. I mean, Liverpool are in 9th. There's the finals I want to mention, just out of the last 6. I think that kind of boosts the potential for the captaincy. On Haaland, away from home as well, their stats are pretty rough, really. I think Haaland is a nice, safe choice if you're looking for someone safe. Let's have a look at some team data. Attack. Here we have Liverpool at the top over the season. 2.23 expected goals. Villa just behind them though. 2.12, being really carried by that kind of home form. Look at that chances per 90 of Liverpool though. 21.5.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, that is so high. They are getting so many opportunities to score goals.
Well, they have been against 10 men on a few occasions.
Well, that's true. Right? Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's obviously boosted the numbers to that kind of outlier. But yeah, I think if you haven't got Salah at this point, I think I don't know what you've got to be worried. Here's a question for you: who's more vital at this stage, Haaland or Salah?
I'd still say Haaland.
Would you?
Yeah.
I don't agree.
If you could only pick one for your team, you go for Salah.
I think so. I mean, I guess there's value in midfield and lots of options, and that would probably be a factor. I think I'm backing week to week at the moment, the way Liverpool are playing in terms of attack, and he has got goals in games where he hasn't been prominent. I mean, that Liverpool City game is a tough one to call. There's no doubt about it. But I think at the moment he's my favoured heavy hitter option.
Okay. So you think I mean, when the fixtures turn, there's going to be that question then each week, isn't there, of who to captain? Because when City's fixture a bit better after the 18 blank, and then you've got Salah and Haaland vying each week for the captaincy, that's going to be quite interesting. And I think it was quite a big week for both of them, wasn't it? Because obviously we have seen Salah a bit further out, pushed to the wide. Okay, he's been getting points and getting penalties, but there's been a bit of concern. And the same really with Haaland as well. I mean, blanking against Bournemouth, for example, that was a bit of a kick to people that have gone with him. But then he kind of does the opposite against Chelsea. He finds ways to start scoring with his bum, and then he scores a penalty, and then he ends up with a big haul. So they kind of switch round really for that game.
Yeah, I think tactically there are two things at play here. For Haaland, they're definitely trying to play to his size more as a way of getting him to be effective. In that you can see in recent games they've got in positions where he's deliberately pulled off on the back post to a fullback rather than a centre half, or even a centre half that he can dominate. And they've got Silva into crossing positions, and so many times they try and dink the ball in. I mean, Akanji's goal at Stamford Bridge was exactly that, except it was Akanji on the end of it rather than Haaland. But it's a tactic I'm seeing City do. They did it effectively at Manchester United. If you remember, Haaland had one save point blank, and then he scored one in the second half, almost exactly the same situation. A chipped ball to the far post, and Haaland just outstrength his fullback or the centre back.
Yeah.
So they're doing that more often as a way of getting Haaland to be more effective, I think, because I think they were struggling for a bit. I think with Alvarez in the team, the method that they were coming up with to create for Haaland was becoming a bit more predictable. They put Doku in to add that unpredictability, which helped. But the ploy to play to Haaland on the far post is definitely something which is a feature of their attacking build-up now. And that's something I will look for when they play Liverpool, whether Haaland pulls off. If Tsimikas does start, will he try and isolate Tsimikas on the far post? Or even Trent. We've seen Trent. I remember Trent getting done by Mitrovic on the far post last season. And he's not the strongest going one-on-one in a duel on the far post. So I think they'll look to that again. I wouldn't be surprised if they profit from that again. And with Liverpool, it's been Darwin. Salah is now a creative force. He wasn't that creative force several seasons ago when he was in our teams then. But now we look to Salah to get us 10-plus assists a season, don't we? And the bonus to go with it from all the key chances that he's creating for Darwin. So in a way, both Haaland and Salah have evolved, I think, as heavy hitters in recent weeks. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, it has. I did a poll who is people rather own. Pretty even. Haaland is just edging it on 55%, but not a huge amount in it. We've had a super chat from Mocha FUT, but it's quite team specific rather than a general question. So we'll take that one at the end.
Hit it at the end.
Let's
do it.
Yeah. I think if people want to ask like a kind of general question about a player or a team, then we can go through it. But if it's quite a specific one, then it ruins the flow a little bit. So we'll take that one at the end. But thank you for the super chat. Anyway, looking at some of the other attacks, I mean, we have got Newcastle and Brighton, both two pretty injury ravaged teams. They're in third and fourth. I mean, Newcastle 1.98 XG non-penalty per 90, Brighton 1.88. Very, very high scores. Brentford only just behind, 1.87. But what do you make of Newcastle and Brighton? I mean, I've got a Dingra. Obviously, Matoma's going to be sold by kind of the masses. Newcastle with Gordon, are they holds when there's so many other options emerging?
I don't think so. I think with Isak coming back, Gordon's going to go back to a wide role when playing, and he's also going to be prone to rotation eventually when Barnes is fully back, and we think that's not far off, right? So Matoma's out. We don't know how long for, but he's definitely out of the Forest game, we believe. I just think Brighton are a no-go because of the rotation. I don't think Adingra, when there's Palmer around, is by any means a temptation. I mean, he could be if you really need to save money, but if you go Palmer, what more money do you need to save? So I don't like Brighton really. I don't like any of their attacking options. I don't even like Matoma when he's fully fit, to be fair. So at the moment, both of them are. I'm not interested in either of them at the moment for attacking terms. Even though their numbers suggest they're a force, I don't think there's an obvious route to either team.
No, I agree. I mean, I've got Adingra and I'm holding him this week, but he's got to be someone that I look to. The trouble is, I think he's a great player, but great players aren't always necessarily great FPL assets. And as much as it is lovely to see Adingra, beating 3 players and getting a nice little pass and score a great goal, I want to see him score some tap-ins. That's kind of that's what you want from your players. You want both.
It's like I said, with Palmer around, that's got to be the option in that bracket. I mean, particularly when Chelsea's fixtures get even better, which they do, significantly better. I think they've got the best run of 5 that any team has got this season coming up. You've got to have Palmer for that run. So when you factor that in, it then gives you the money to look at the 6-5s and beyond. We talked about Mbeumo, and then you've got obviously Saka, Salah. I just don't see a place for Adingra at the moment. There's Eze. There's even Gibbs White, I think. I mean, obviously Bowen has dropped out of the equation, but I don't think many will be moving to Adingra as a replacement when there's people like Eze and Mbeumo about. Just don't see it. And Gordon as well. I mean, he was high on my watch list previously and he was tempting me, but that was while Newcastle were struggling for strikers, and also the fatigue factor with them with the European games is clearly now an issue, and we know that Barnsley's nearing a return as well. And during the festive period, Gordon's got to be one of those players you think he's going to get a rest. He's going to get a rest at some point. So he's not going to be ever present during that Christmas period. Whereas in Mbeumo, Eze, Gibbs White, probably will all play all games. So just don't see it.
No, and a few people in the chat saying, rotation is a huge part of Brighton's lessening appeal.
Yeah.
I think we're both kind of banging the drum, aren't we? That I saw it on your video, your walkabout video. Let's walk FPL. We need to be bringing in players who we know are going to start week on week. And Mitoma, we thought was the most nailed on player. Okay, he's now got an injury, but he was benched in the last game when we thought he wouldn't be. So they're probably just not the right team to invest in at the moment. Any other team you want to mention on here?
No, I mean, again, Wolves are interesting, aren't they? Mid-table in the attack as well. I mean, can we have a look at the last 6?
Look at City in 12th over the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, the fixtures have been tough for City. I mean, the next 4 are tough rather for City as well. I mean, Haaland's the only attacking asset that we're looking at amongst City. I mean, last 6, City go up to 6, 1.56. I mean, they had that run, didn't they? They had that run of 3 or 4 games where suddenly their XG was at the lowest point in Pep's reign as a City manager. We looked at that a few weeks back. So that's obviously dented their season data. It's picked up a bit over the last couple of games, and they're back amongst the top bracket here. I mean, they will be in the top 2, I expect, by the end of the season. But it has, like Arsenal, I mean, you look at Arsenal in the season date, they're 12th here in this table, 1.29 XG non-penalty per 90. It's not been plain sailing for City and Arsenal attacks over the season, whereas for Liverpool, they're top of this as well.
Yeah.
Right? They've been the force. Brentford here, second, 1.89. I mean, I guess that explains why people can confidently go to Mbeumo, because they're back in the Brentford attack to score against even that Arsenal defence, which is fair enough based on what we're seeing here. And what you said about Watkins at Spurs, yeah, look, 1.82 Villa's attack over the last 6. It's a small sample, but that is also consistent with what we've seen over the season so far as well. Yeah, and as I said, Wolves, I think they deserve credit, both doing very well in the defensive and attacking data. O'Neill has taken time to kind of get the players playing the way he wants and getting what he wants from them. And the Neto injury was a cruel setback. But I've been really impressed with how they've adjusted without him. And they deserve to be climbing the table. And they're certainly climbing the data tables.
They've gone from a team kind of right at the start of the season who, I mean, they had that first good game against Manchester United, but it was all based on pressing, really. Like, it didn't really look like they had a lot about them in terms of goal threat or be able to create chances or anything. And he's kind of tweaked that, so there's still like a solid kind of team that presses all over the pitch, but now has added in this ability to create chances and just score great goals. I mean, like the goal that was scored against Spurs was absolutely brilliant from Sarabia, for example. Like, they didn't look like they had that kind of quality in the side, and he's getting that out of the players individually.
They're still missing chances. I mean, Cunha and Wang, for all his goals so far this season, Wang, he has missed chances as well. They're not prolific in terms of taking their chances, so they'll waste good opportunities.
You look at a lot of Cunha, Sarabia, Huang, even Neto.
So they're wasteful, but I guess that's what you expect. They're not a top tier team, but they're creating chances like a top tier team at the moment. So I think we'll talk about Aït-Nouri later. I think that they're worth a short term pump maybe.
It is funny this last 6 data, because you look at the top 10. Okay, there's teams that you'd expect to see: Newcastle, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, fine. But you look at the bottom 10, and you've got Spurs, Brighton, Arsenal, Manchester United. That's the 10th to 13th place. 4 teams where you would expect to see them higher, and especially when you look at Manchester United's fixtures over the last 6.
Reasonable.
But second best on show. I think they are, and things just aren't working for them.
Well, that's what we've seen. I mean, it's not just the data that shows us that. We've seen it with our eye tests that United are just really struggling to put any. I mean, they were lucky at Fulham when they got the goal that Bruno got. In the games they've won, both domestically and European games, they've won them at a struggle, right? They've had to really grind the wins out. It's not been pretty to watch, and it's not been fluid. So the data backs that up.
Nigel says for extreme differentials, Gallagher, McGinn and Olise all under 1% owned and notable goal threats. McGinn in particular.
You don't want to hear about McGinn, do you? You get plenty of that.
I hear enough about McGinn from Yelena these days. He's been absolutely brilliant for her, and I mean, I haven't got anyone to go on the wall at the moment, so it might be him just for her sake, because he has been.
I mean, I like the Olise pick, but why would you go Olise over Eze when Eze's on pens? You just wouldn't, would you?
No, and Gallagher over Palmer. I mean, Palmer's only 8% owned.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the moment they are player. I mean, are they players that are going to play every game over Christmas? Gallagher maybe, but that's the key for me. I don't want to consider a player unless it's like a bench player who isn't going to be a mainstay in their respective team over Christmas, because I think we're going to be at least to our second sub on occasions. So you kind of need to build with that in mind, I think.
Do you notice your arrow changed?
Swine. You never miss an opportunity.
Can't believe I gave you a green.
I guess you've got to take every chance you get.
I know. So used to give you
very good.
Bloody
very
greens.
Good live updating.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it.
Thank you very much. Let's take a look at some defenders then. Let's take a look at some defenders over the season. Look who's back in second. Reece James. Are you going to go back? Are you going to go back to Reece?
No, because it goes back to what I've just said. Like, Chelsea have got Gusto. Right, Gusto. That's how you say it.
It's the old-fashioned talking, I think.
I mean, the Premier League. Did you see the Premier League put out some of the pronunciations today on video for everyone to see?
Bruno Fernandes.
It's Gusto, isn't it? So I think with him there in reserve, I think he will get a couple of games over Christmas. So I just can't see Reece James playing every single game. They have got easier fixtures. I don't know if you want to bring the ticker up. And I think while we would look at those fixtures and go, that's going to be amazing to have Reece James for those games, I think Gusto will get a couple of them. It's Newcastle, Brighton, United, but then it's a really favourable run after that, starting with games against Everton, Sheffield United, and Wolves away. Like, I think, and game week 19, I think, follows very soon after 18. I think it's a midweek game week, isn't it? Or it's 2 or 3 days after. I think that James won't play every game over that period, because I think that Pochettino knows that he can't push him, and he's got a very, very strong standby player in Gusto to come in. So I don't think James is the right option. I think that is James rampaging forward in the way he did previously in a wing-back system in a back four? What do you think? Do you see that?
It's hard to judge him though, isn't it? Because I mean, we judged Trippier before his good run, and I remember we talked about on BlackBox the fact he wasn't really getting forward as much, and and that. And I mean, it didn't really put us off him, because I think we kind of knew that when the fixtures turned, it would. But I mean, James is going to get forward against Everton, Sheffield United, and Wolves more than he has done against, Man City, Arsenal, and the other teams he played.
If he plays all those games, that's the thing. They are all weekend games, so he could do.
I guess the kind of flip side to it is, I mean, you could argue that his upside is so high in the games he does play. He only needs to, if he gets a goal and assist in one game and then misses the next one, is he actually still worth it, because he's got you the points in the games that he does play? I mean, that obviously relies on him getting points and not Chelsea conceding stupid goals and him going off at 58 minutes, or all the other things that Reece James has typically done for us over the last few years. But I quite like it. I like it as a bit of a differential left field punt. He's down to what, 5'2" now, is he? 5'2", 5'3", something like that. He's very, very cheap. And at a time when there's not really any defenders really standing out, because we haven't got the Trents, we haven't got the Robertsons, the Cancelos, the three at the back is being made up of some bloody weird players like Simicast, who's also probably not going to play every game over Christmas. Or you look at Crystal Palace defenders, where you've got no attacking potential from people like Gahey or Anderson, really, unless you get lucky. So I'm a bit more kind of excited by it, I think, maybe than you are. I can see myself going there.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I could consider it is if I lost Trippier. I'm just not going to do that. Unless I don't keep Mbeumo, go down from Mbeumo to someone like Eze, that might give me enough to go there. Maybe I'd have to look at it, but I mean, I'm not ruling him out as a punt over those three games in particular, because those three games fall on weekends. They're Saturday, Sunday. You're saying Everton, Sheffield United, Wolves. Yeah, it's Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. You should play all three of those games. It's when we get to the game week 19 and 20 that I think he'll miss at least one of those. So I'm just saying, be cautious when assessing James over that run. It looks incredible, and you would think, James could be devastating as a differential, but I think he'll miss at least one, just because of the quality of that Gusto has. That I don't think Pochettino, I feel that. Having said that, though, he dropped Gusto, didn't he? Strangely, after the mistake against was it against it on the back post? He didn't pick up a player on the back post and conceded a goal on that, and he was dropped the next game. And him and James are on the bench. So maybe Pochettino doesn't like Gusto.
I don't think Gusto is ready to start, consistent games. He's clearly got bags of potential.
But he has, though. While James is out, he did start.
He had to, and Chelsea struggled in a lot of games they played. They didn't exactly do well. And I think it's quite telling that James has come back in and he's started the vast majority of matches that he's...
he's first choice.
Absolutely. And if you look at defenders over the last 6, who's top of the pile for XG on penalty out of defenders? Reece James, 0.42. So you might say he's not getting forwards as much as maybe we've seen, but the numbers still indicate that out of the 2 starts, it's a small sample, but the numbers are potentially there.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea have been effective in attacking terms since he's come back. Is that down to him, or are Chelsea just turning the corner? And of course, Chelsea have got Nkunku back as well. We think he's going to figure soon. So things are on the up for Chelsea. It's just whether you can get to Reece James at 5.3. It's cheaper than he's ever been in recent seasons, but it's still a stretch, I think. Not for those without Haaland. I mean, he's certainly a player. If you haven't got Haaland, you've got money swimming about. I mean, they'll be selling Bowen and probably coming down to someone like, if they've got Mbeumo already, they'll be coming down to someone like Eze, and so they'll have plenty of money. So Reece James is definitely on the radar then. For someone like me with Salah and Haaland, where every 0-1 is difficult to find, I don't think I can get there.
Lovely segue into your player that you begged me to mention on this. So let's just say, I don't know, let's say you had, let's pick a random number, 4.5 million to spend on a defender. Who do you think that the standout is?
Well, there isn't a standout. I don't think.
Come on, I was teeing you up then.
Well, I mean, at 4.5, you're going to struggle to find a player that delivers you clean sheet potential with attacking returns as well. But Aït-Nouri is, I think, the closest we get. He's 4th in this table for XGI and non-penalty over the last 6 game weeks. Since Neto's injury, he has been more advanced in a wing-back system on the left-hand side. And he hasn't taken the chances he's got. So that's why he hasn't really blinked on the radar too brightly, in that he hasn't really converted. He started the 6 games over the last 6 game weeks. So he's not, I don't think I don't think we can say he's a rotation risk. I think he is over the Christmas period because they do have options. Bueno can play there. Totti could play there. So I don't think he's nailed on necessarily. But is he a good 1 or 2 week punt? For this game week and maybe game week 15. I think they play Burnley at home in that game. I think he is. He is on 4 bookings. So you are hoping that he doesn't get booked and miss the Burnley game. Yeah, this is from FBL Radar. Does these excellent radars on social. You should follow him if you don't, at FBL Radar. And it shows that this is his comparison to other players in his position. And he's in the top 91% for XG. Game weeks 1 to 12. He's in the top 87% for key passes. Top 77% for carries into the box. So, there's no question that in attacking terms, he's that rare commodity where you can get him in for 4 or 5. We saw the Wolves' defence is ranked second over the last 6 game weeks, 6 matches, in defensive terms. So they could easily go to Fulham and keep a clean sheet. They could easily play Burnley in game week 15 and keep a clean sheet. And Aït-Nouri is registering numbers to suggest that he could get you an attacking return. But 4-5, that's an upside pick. And I'm all here. I'm here for the upside picks this season. So I think I'm going to do it.
Oh, yeah. What, you thinking cash to Aït-Nouri?
Yeah, because the 4-5 means I've got the money I need to go in Mbumo next week, even with Mbumo's rise that will happen tonight. So I can't go to a 4-6. So I can't get a Palace defender. So I'm looking at what? Toffolo at Forest or a Fulham defender?
Yeah.
What? It's Aït-Nouri versus a Forest defender or a Fulham defender. When you put it in those terms, I don't think he's a big gamble. The 4 bookings is a worry. I want him to play Burnley in game of 15, but if he doesn't turn up for game of 15, I've got a bench at that point. He's not a long-term keep, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah. No, nice. Look at some of the other defenders on this list. Obviously, Tsimikas is climbing the ranks after his slightly fortuitous second assist. I think we'll say on that one.
They all count.
They all count. Absolutely. He's in 9th. I mean, he's a tricky one to kind of know what to do, though, isn't it? Because I think we talked about this on the team section. If Gomez had been fit, I think he probably would have started that match. So
Gomez.
Yeah. So what does that mean for Tsimikas going forward? Is he... Because I know a lot of people have sold him and might be thinking, oh no, like I've sold him. But he almost is a bit of a headache each week, isn't he?
Yeah, I think you can look at the fixture and go, that's a Tsimikas fixture and that's a Gomez fixture. I think we expected Gomez to play at Luton because of the set plays. And he didn't have a bad game, and they were playing Brentford, and Brentford are very strong at set plays as well. So we expected Gomez to start that game. As it was, Gomez got an injury, so Tsimikas played. I think Gomez would have started because of the set play threat that Brentford bring. So looking at the Liverpool fixtures, will Tsimikas start at City? I think he probably will. I think Klopp will go head-to-head with City and try and score goals rather than go there and think, well, I'll play Gomez and be more defensive. I think Tsimikas will start that game. Would he play 14 when they play Fulham at home?
Tsimikas. They will target Tsimikas in that game.
Well, Haaland could. I spoke about it earlier about pulling off on the far post, so maybe Klopp is wise to that as well.
But Gomez isn't that much. He's not that much better though at left back. Gomez.
No, you wouldn't think. Oh well, don't worry, Gomez will take Haaland out. It's not going to happen, is it? So and equally, whoever plays against Gomez, whether it be Grealish, whether it be Doku, I don't know who's going to play out that side. Probably Grealish, because Grealish tends to play in the games against the bigger teams, right? So, Gomez isn't the best if he plays out there. I don't know. I mean, it depends what they do with Trent as well. Will Trent play right back, or will he play the inverted? I don't know. I think that Klopp will attack City and he'll play Tsimikas myself. And I think Tsimikas will play Fulham at home because I think that's a fixture where he'll want to break the low block that Fulham will probably turn up with. And then Sheffield United, he'll play Gomez. So game week 15 against Sheffield United, more physical team. It's a midweek game. Tsimikas would have just played the Fulham game. So I think you can look, and then who do Liverpool play after that? They're at Palace. That will probably be Tsimikas. I don't think Palace are that formidable at set plays. And again, they're a defensive team that he'll want Tsimikas' quality going forward to break them down. So I think you can look at the fixtures and predict it.
Yeah.
So I think he's still a keep because of that.
And then get it wrong and have 15 points on your bench. That's
yeah. You were fortunate for that reason as well. The Gomez injury really did, fall for you.
The thing is, when SuperChats plays, he's one of the best options to own because we know that he can take a couple of set pieces. We know he's going to get forward. We know he's got a hell of a cross on him. Like when I think I didn't buy him for that first week that he got in the team. I can't remember who was playing. He got a clean sheet in it, but he didn't have a particularly good game. But he put in some dangerous crosses. Like he's got assists in him. I know again he was fortuitous, but it was he's definitely got that part of him. So yeah, when he plays, he's good. He to me again is another kind of upside pick. He's a bit similar to James. Do you want to be going into the Christmas break, the Christmas fixtures with SuperChats and James? I mean, with Gabriel's 93rd on this list, you're not really getting any attacking, potential from him.
You're right. The defence is our most troublesome area of the team.
It's a bit of a joke, isn't it? I mean, there's no one. I mean, you look at the players we've highlighted here. None of them scream investment to me. We've highlighted.
Still not buying Duncan his knuckle free kicks.
I'll buy you another old fashioned when that happens. When that free kick goes in.
Mikalenko, we haven't spoke about him, and he's got back-to-back goals. Everton, we saw defensive data strong in the same way. I mean, like he at 4-4 is another one he's an upside buy, isn't he? The fixtures aren't quite as obliging as Wolves, I would say, but he's looked very strong going forward. And I said on the video we did earlier in the week that Mikalenko with McNeil just drops back, lets Mikalenko bomb forward, and that's how he's got the returns. What do you think to him? Do you think he's viable?
Yeah, I like him. Let's just have a look at the Everton fixtures. Manchester United, at home? We've seen that's not particularly a bad one. Yeah, I remember we talked about it. They don't really get a decent run, do they? Forest away, not that easy. Newcastle at home, tough. Chelsea at home, tough. Burnley away, that looks decent. But then they're straight into Tottenham away as well. I just don't know when I'd play him. That's the
where's the clean sheet there? There isn't one really.
No.
Burnley away, maybe. That's it. Yeah. I think they concede in those home games, and I think Forest will score. So I mean, United at home this week could be the best chance they've got in the next 4 of a clean sheet, I would say.
He's the kind of defender that I'd like to recommend and say go for it, go for the the attacking potential, and Everton are going to be buoyed by the point deduction, but you look at the fixtures and think, I don't know. I think they'll probably do a bit better.
It's like I say, if you look at Aït-Nouri, he's got Fulham away this week, and then he should play Burnley and Forest at home, and both of those look more favourable than the Mikalenko run when he's got Newcastle, Chelsea. So although I think they're close in terms of being, price and the upside that they could offer, the fixtures are the thing that sway me towards Aït-Nouri.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nigel the Crab, 1200 watching. Thank you all for joining us on this. What day is today? Wednesday night.
What is the day? I'm in a different time zone.
I know. God knows what time it is where you are. We're heading into Thursday in 2
Coming
minutes.
up to midnight.
Yeah.
Coming up to midnight here.
Nice. Do give us a like if you're enjoying it. Do make sure you're subscribed to FPL BlackBox. Do check out the members perks as well. The Discord, I mentioned earlier, the Discord is both.
No. Members only.
Members
it's
only.
Not a public Discord.
Oh, there
you
go.
You have to be a member. You can be a member at any tier to get to the Discord. But if you want the top tier and you want to listen to me and Naz rambling on match days, then you have to get Godfather tier.
So you can join as an apprentice tier member and get access to the Discord. But if you want the Godfather
tier. But not all the areas of Discord, because Billy and Nigel have created some secret areas that only Godfathers get, which is fair enough.
It's probably some I'm not in, to be honest.
Oh yeah, there's a corner where me and Nigel and Billy just talk about you all the time.
Yeah, the as corner. Yeah, if you want access to that, it's $49.99 a month. And,
no, that's free. We can all join in. That's fine.
Excellent. Let's take a look at some midfielders then, if I can actually find the button while I'm stalling. There it is. So we've got midfielders. We've got bloody Bailey at the top. Can't seem to shake him. He's only had 2 starts. XGI, non-penalty is really high. Salah in second, 0.79. Sarabia is a player that I've always wanted to own, but just doesn't start enough.
Please, is it now Sarabia? Because I thought it was Sarabia.
Is it Sarabia? I don't know.
I thought you'd watch the Premier League pronunciations and knew better than me.
I've always called him Sarabia.
Right, you're wrong. It's Sarabia. Okay,
Sarabia.
I'm sure Wolfpack's in the chat, and it's Sarabia. But anyway, that's fine. Yeah, it's like Joe calls Lascelles, doesn't he?
Well, he calls him Joe Ellington as well.
Yeah. Does he do it on purpose just to wind us up?
I think what he does is he talks to someone who says they know how to pronounce it, and then he just assumes that's like gospel.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Yeah. But anyway, Sarabia. I mean, Sarabia was so. I can't understand why he's not in the starting 11. He always impressed me last season.
Can I just put this comment on? This is the most useless comment we've ever had, right? From Alexander. Sorry to call you out. How does that help? It's Sarabia. You can't just put his name.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, we know the spelling. We've got the spelling. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. Very, very useful.
Genius. Love that. I think he's a quality player. He'll be interesting to see if he breaks into the 11. I don't think he will, because I think O'Neill will keep the same 11. I mean, that's the one worry of Aït-Nouri, in that will Sarabia or however you want to go with. You've done it to me now. You've completely corrupted my correct pronunciation. Will he start? I don't think so. He did score at Fulham last season, because if you remember, it was a period of time when we were actually looking at Wolves at that point, and he was beginning to tempt us, and they go to Fulham next. So yeah, he did well there last season, so he could be a factor, and it could disrupt my Aït-Nouri gamble. But yeah, he's not a long-term option yet. Mbeumo, fantastic season. I can't believe the numbers he's put together. We've already looked at him, so we won't dwell on him.
Well, look at him over the last. He's fourth on this list with over the season of next year on penalty per 90 of 0.77. And then if we look at him over the last 6 as well, if I can find, hang on,
last 6 games.
Over the last 6, he's top 0.88.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, and that's non-penalties, so we can't build in penalties as a factor. He misses chances, he's a bit like Watkins, in that he has got this reputation for not taking all his chances and missing some sitters, and we've seen that. I'm just completely shocked as to how he has adapted his output without Tony there. It was always a chance, and a lot of people went with him from the start of the season, because the way the models work, and I know this because I used to work with Rate My Team, when you take the chief source of goals out of a team, the way they normally work, the way Rate My Team worked, is it shared that output amongst the other attackers in the team. So when you remove Tony, it's going to boost the likes of Mbeumo in terms of their
Kane out
projected
with
output.
Son and
because it still thinks that Brentford will score perhaps fewer goals, but not by a great margin. So therefore, it has to distribute those points to other players. So Mbeumo was always in the models going to be favoured. And a lot of people went with Mbeumo, obviously follow models, whether it Rate My Team or Review, on that basis. I looked at it and went, no, the models are overplaying that, because I know he's on penalties, but I think what's happening there is the Tony output is being distributed, and a lot of it is going to Wissa and Mbeumo, because they're the only sources, really, the obvious sources for attacking returns. So I didn't go Mbeumo on that basis. But it's been proved correct. I mean, Rate My Team and Review would have done that. And I questioned the validity of doing that. But actually, Mbeumo has more than exceeded expectations.
I mean, the thing is, you see his heat maps. And I mean, I saw him against Palace. I went to that game. And he plays incredibly wide. Like, he is right out on the on the whip. So
he is when they don't play the 3 at the back.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you're looking for then, to get him back up top and in the middle. Because when he has been wide, he hasn't been as effective. But it looks like, because I think we thought with Henry, didn't we, out that might affect his thing. But it's 6 games. Henry must have been out for those 6 games now, right? And he's top.
There was a spell when Henry was out where Mbeumo did have a lull. Yeah. And if you remember, people were saying...
That's when I owned him.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know whether that was down to you owning him or Henry out. We don't know. I mean, you've got to think against Arsenal, they will play the 3 at the back, and Mbeumo will be in the front too. He won't be right up top, but he'll be just off the striker in a free role. So the conditions are set again for Mbeumo to return. So, we said at the top of the show, it is perhaps odd that FPL managers with heavy Arsenal investment in defence are going in Mbeumo, but you're hedging your bets, and it's who's to say it won't come in given the data.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about taking out a key player like Tony, and I mentioned Kane. I mean, a key player that we think is going to be out that's getting a few comments in the chat is Bowen. We haven't had the concrete news, but I think we saw a tweet which was attributed to ex West Ham employee who we know gets good news about this, and he has been quoted as saying, "Fluid on the knee, going to a specialist. We know he's out. We just don't know how long for." So, if you're one of the most bought player this week, if you're one of those, you need to be thinking about a hit potentially to get rid of him. And if you've got him, obviously you need an exit route for him as well. These are some players.
I trust that account. Yeah, I think that account is someone who used to work at West Ham. I don't know why I think that. I just jumped to that conclusion.
You're on the ball tonight.
But yeah, I think people are getting rid because Mbeumo's going up tonight. So I think people are jumping on that sale already.
Well, it wasn't actually it didn't actually come from his Twitter. That's the thing that's maybe confusing a few people, because he's got a Patreon set up where he gives this, and then I think some
people just want to fleece as much money as they can, don't they? I bet he's got a Discord.
Join our Discord. Well, he's actually giving useful information, not like us who have a coffee and a memes chat in Discord. These are the Bowen replacements that I kind of put in together, kind of in and around his price range.
I love an in and around, love that kind of thing.
All a little bit less, I think. No one over what Bowen is. Big loss, I think, though, for those who had Bowen. So I think going into Burnley away, I was talking to you on the team section last week. I was thinking of bringing him and captaining him. I think he was the best captain option this week.
You were going big, weren't you?
I know. So yeah, you'd be gutted if you had him. But these are the players I put in. I mean, there's obviously quite a few more, but I've gone for Eze, Diaby, just because of that Spurs game, really. If you fancy the high line, him up against the high line. Anthony Gordon playing up front for Newcastle, and Mbeumo, Palmer, Gibbs White, or if you want a really left field one, maybe go for Kudus if he is fit and back in the side. So, I mean, you look at these stats, you look at all the yellow. This is kind of over the season. It all points to Mbeumo, doesn't it? And that just clarifies
I mean, with
what we said.
With Luton hovering, you're not. If you haven't got Mbeumo, you're going Mbeumo with your Bowen money. If you have got Mbeumo, where are you going next?
Yeah.
Well, what do you reckon? Where are you going next? That was a cue.
Oh, was it? I thought you froze.
No.
I mean, the boring answer is Palmer, isn't it? And just taking that money out and going down to him. Yeah, I mean
Palmer's data is excellent, hasn't it? Passing the eye test on penalty. But I guess the only thing with Palmer is there's no way the output's sustainable with the penalties. But with Nkunku coming back as well, there's maybe a question mark over will he give way on penalties. I don't see it. Eze for me though. I think that Eze started the season data-wise like a train. He was producing some big numbers. I think he's still second only to him. Is he second to Mbeumo for total shots this season, I think? Even though he's had that time out, he's had a lot of shots this season. He's come back, he's got back-to-back returns. Palace's fixtures aren't amazing, but they're good enough. I personally think, yes, Palmer, but you can get to him through other means because he's cheap enough. I would go Eze after Mbeumo myself. So
yeah, I guess my only reason for probably saying Palmer is if you look at the fixtures, I just think we're going to want a Chelsea attacker. From 16, like you're going to, it's Everton, it's Sheffield United and Wolves. That's such a good three. And okay, Palace is a kind of decent over the next three: Luton, West Ham, and Bournemouth. But then it's Liverpool, City. So if you're happy to have that transfer kind of built in and say, okay, I'm going to get Eze for 3 weeks and then move him over to Palmer after that, then I think that's the way to play it. But if you're someone who doesn't really want to, book these transfers in because we know what a disaster that could potentially be, then it's a decent move. But those three, I mean, Luton, West Ham, and Bournemouth is a great run for Eze.
Well, it goes on beyond that as well, doesn't it? For Cole Palmer, I mean, the other factor with Palmer is his price is going up all the time.
Yeah.
And even if he blanks this week, he'll probably go up next week because people are jumping on him for the value. So I think Palmer makes sense if you don't have him and the money's becoming an issue. I mean, even if it's not becoming an issue, do you want to buy him in 3 weeks' time for 5.5? Because that's probably what he'll be in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So it's. I got in him early, and I'm glad I did. And if you haven't got him yet, every 0-1 kind of hurts. It does me anyway. I hate it if managers around me have gotten someone early and it's a player I want, and I have to buy them for 0.5 more.
I know.
It stings. I don't like it.
Well, you got Palmer at 4.9, didn't you? Which is
it's fortunate.
He's a bargain. I mean, Gibbs White is someone that kind of we're not talking about. What do you make of him? I mean, Forest's fixtures are second in the ticker for the next 6. Brighton, Everton, Fulham, Wolves, Tottenham, Bournemouth. That is a brilliant run.
Yeah, and like Eze, he's a talisman. He's on penalties. I don't think he's as strong a talisman as Eze, in that we've got other players in our team that we can go to open up opponents and score goals. Whereas I think for Palace, Eze, when you saw Eze at Brentford and you came back and went, he's miles their best player.
So much better than everyone else in that team. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas you watch Gibbs White and he stands out, but not anywhere near the same way Eze does at Palace. The problem we've got with Gibbs White at the moment, we can't find a role for him. He's playing out. We're playing Elanga one side, Awani down the middle, and Gibbs White on the opposite flank. He's not going to come into a central role because the midfield 3 are undroppable at the moment. The factor that could change things is Sangare and Mangalo on 4 bookings, and the way they play, they're going to pick up a booking each in the next couple of games at some point. So there's going to be disruption in that midfield 3. That might mean a change of system. So it could be that by the time Forest play Everton or Fulham, Gibbs White has a more central role in terms of his contribution. For me, we need, tactically, just talking about Forest, we need to get Gibbs White nearer our knee and therefore become more of a factor in games, because I think at the moment he's too peripheral. His start position when we get possession is too wide and he can't have that influence. Now, the one instance at West Ham where he was more central, we scored a goal. He got on that centre-back, got inside the centre-back, had the shot, and when he scored. He's not inside that centre-back enough. He's too far out wide. So it might change, but at the moment, I would say Gibbs White he's not the Gibbs White of last season at the moment in terms of his involvement in matches.
I mean, Gordon is someone who you feel it feels like you're a little bit colder on Gordon than a lot of people. He's obviously very popular in a lot of teams. We've seen Newcastle's data; it's very good.
Like
obviously, they've got the injuries, but is he a hold? Do you think?
Oh, he's a hold. Yeah, I think he's a hold. And for me, he was not. It was close whether to go him or Palmer on the wild card. I went Palmer because in the end, that little bit extra money meant I could do different things in defence, I think it was. I like him still. It's just for me, now Barnes is back and we're going into that period where Howe's going to be concerned about the number of minutes he's asking to get from Gordon. And there's still another round of European games to go. Well, there's 2 to go, isn't there? And Newcastle are still in it. They're still got a chance. They're still going to go for it, I think, in those 2 games. So it's a lot of factors counting against him. I don't think he is as attractive as he was a couple of weeks ago for me, but he's still a keep. I'd still hold him.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Any other midfielders we want to talk about before we move on?
Yeah, who else did we pick out there? I think we've touched on the main ones, really. I mean, no one else leaps out there.
Mitoma's a sell for me, by the way. If you've got him, I don't think it matters if he's out for 1 week or however many.
No.
I think it's just better options going forward.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a sell. I think there's nothing else there that jumps out. Again, I think the template has kind of settled down. There's like a pool of 8 or 9 midfielders, I think, at the moment. And that is lessened by Maddison being out, Bowen being out, Mitoma being out. Those 3 would be in that pool, wouldn't they? And suddenly they're gone. So it's now a much smaller pool of talent that we're looking at. And I think the last screen showed that because we're bringing in people like Eze and Gibbs White who weren't really in the equation at the start of the season. So, yeah, I think it's a more narrow pool of talent in midfield at the moment.
Especially when like Martinelli and Odegaard aren't really factors for Arsenal. Yeah. You can't really attack because they've got good fixtures, but we're not really
When
attacking.
Are they going to revive?
I know. I very nearly bought Martinelli. Yeah, I took a hit for Saka last week just because I just wasn't totally convinced on Martinelli this season. And I'm glad I did because I think if I was, Saka I don't think has been... He started the season very well, but kind of tailed off a bit. But he's just the one in that. When Arsenal's attack does click, and I still believe it will, I just think he's so much above the other options in that attack. So
agreed.
I'm glad I've got him. I mean, the one player that maybe people could start playing around with is Son, right? Because I think you're of the opinion that Spurs are still going to be on the front foot under Ange. They're still a very attacking team. I completely agree with all of that. But how much is that Maddison absence going to affect Son up front? I mean, he's got penalties now. We know that. The fixtures against Villa's high line, then against Man City, where he actually does pretty well, and he's played in much worse teams and done well against Man City with more negative managers. So I'm not saying he's an easy sell, but he was someone that I was looking to sell because I was looking to do Son to Bowen this week.
Yeah, I don't think he's someone that is scaring people who don't own him now.
No, not anymore.
Because of the Maddison factor. I think he's a keep. I think it's unknown yet how much the Maddison loss is going to affect them. On paper, and if I was going to speculate, it's going to dent his potential returns. The one thing that does worry me if I was selling Son, though, is we know he's an elite finisher who doesn't need high XG chances to score goals. So although Maddison out of the team means that the quality of chance will reduce for him, we know he can convert low quality chances. He can score 25-yarders. He can score 2-yard tap-ins. So it's not conclusive for me yet that Son's output's going to reduce so much that he's a sell. I think we need more games. I do think the Villa high line is a game that will suit him. With Maddison playing, we back him for return all the time, I think. Without Maddison, I'm still going to go with him captain, I think. But it's a real test for him. It's an audition, isn't it, really, in a way, this is? Because I think
so.
Without Maddison for that last game, it was hard to make a judgment call. We need a bit more data and a bit more eye test before we're clear whether or not Son is a sell. But just for me at the moment, his ability to convert low XG chances, which is undoubted over season upon season, means I'm going to keep him.
Well, I mean, Daniel McLean says here, if he blanks against Villa, a fixture that's supposedly made for him, surely we have to consider moving him out. It's a lot of pressure and responsibility on Son's shoulders. Not only is he the captain, he's now going to be pretty much the only one that's going to be expected to score the majority of their goals going forward without much service, and we're expecting Spurs to concede at least a goal every game because they've got no defenders kind of available for them. So
doesn't Daniel need to be looking at colours for the nursery rather than worrying me about Son facts?
That wasn't Daniel, was it?
I thought it was. Maybe I'm misremembering. He's right. He's right. This is a fixture normally.
You're thinking of Dean.
Dean, sorry.
I think I'm doubting it now.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is a fixture normally. Yeah, we bank him for returning this game, and so. Yeah, there's an element of that. There's no question if he comes out of this game blanking and you speak to me next week, yeah, the stock would have gone down considerably, I expect. But at the moment, where do you go with that money?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, lovely segue. I mean, the potentially what you do is you invest that money in going up top, or you switch to 3 up top because we've got Haaland, we've got Watkins. Nunes is an option, so you could switch to Darwin because his underlying stats are good and he's playing well for club and country at the moment. We touched on Awoniyi as well with the fixtures that he's got.
You got that one.
Oh, yeah. Taiwo. Let's just call him Taiwo. do what you do. Call them all first names.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good thing.
It's the way out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Taiwo's 11th on the list, 0.54. He showed on penalty per 90, but absolutely great fixtures. Is he fit? Is he ready to go?
Well, he's got a groin issue. I don't think he'll play every game over Christmas.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go there personally. I think he will get goals in this run. Solanke's by far the best option.
I'm not buying into it. I'm sorry.
Are you not?
I'm sorry. A Bournemouth striker with the options that we've got elsewhere. No.
What are the other options elsewhere? Darwin?
Yeah. Darwin or Solanke? Come on. There's no option there. And then you got 5 midfielders who I'd much rather have than Solanke. He's popular. I'm seeing people talking about captaining him. This week, given the fact that we haven't got a huge amount of other options and he's playing Sheffield United. Obviously, he's a fine option this week, but I just wouldn't want to be holding Solanke going forwards.
I don't think there's a world I'm ever going to captain a Bournemouth player in a non-double game week.
No.
I really like him. I really like the fixtures. Darwin. I mean, the difference between Solanke and Darwin is Solanke will play every game in the next 6 or 7 game weeks. Darwin definitely won't. We don't have to sit here and look at the fixture and go, when's he going to get a rest? Is he going to get a rest? He will get a rest. And it could be that he only starts 4 the next 6 or 7 games. So will he do enough off the bench to allay that fear? Probably. But it's still, we know what we get with Darwin, unfortunately. We get frustrating misses and the odd benching. And it's whether or not you take that. Solanke, we know what we get with him as well. It's a goal every 3 games, although it's every 2 games so far this season.
I would pick Darwin 100 times out of 100 against Solanke. I wouldn't even debate it.
But it's the money as well. I mean, like there's a 1 million difference. So if that means getting Reece James in instead of Colwell, suddenly it's a different conversation.
Yeah, but I know. But I think if you're going for 3 up top, you probably need to make a sacrifice of Son. He's probably the one that you need to lose out of that.
Right.
So then you've got the money. Right, I don't see how Solanke fits into a 3 up top system.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends if you got Watkins and Haaland. Like for me, if I sold Son, I could go Darwin and still have enough money to do what I want, I guess, elsewhere. And I guess at the moment, there's no like Maddison available. There's no Bowen available. So like the next notch up from Mbeumo's not there, is it? Those 2 players are the 2 you'd look up in the next bracket. So, yeah, I guess you're right. I think at the moment Darwin is the better option because the money's not needed elsewhere.
There's a lot of bloody love for Solanke in the chat. I'm getting absolutely slated for this.
Yeah, I agree with them. I mean, if you look at Bournemouth's fixtures, I think they're incredibly strong.
He's all right.
And he starts every game.
He's all right, but it's Bournemouth. Like we're all suddenly going crazy for Bournemouth just because they've had a good result against Newcastle, which I don't think anyone really predicted.
Yeah, but I think we felt that under Iriola that they would have this run of showing attacking promise. It hasn't arrived until now. It does suddenly look like his methods are beginning to settle in and he's starting to get a tune out of that team. And so you're back in that as well. You're back in that Bournemouth have turned a corner in attacking terms and they are going to exploit this run.
Yeah.
It's a big if.
I don't even think the run's that great. Aston Villa, Palace, United in 14 to 16. I mean, it's all right.
Well, Villa aren't great away from home. United are United. And then around that, Sheffield United, Palace away, Luton, Forest. They've got a good run in. They've got a good fixture in 19 as well, I think. So it is the best. If you extend it to 19, I think it is top of the ticker. I like him. I do like him. I don't, as a Forest fan, it irks to back a striker in a team in and around Forest position. And I don't want to be hoping for Bournemouth goals and wins, really, because I still think Forest are in the mix, right? I'm not that optimistic that we're out of the relegation battle yet. So I don't want wins for Bournemouth and I don't want goals for Solanke, really. But this season is all about me burying my bias and going with what's best for my FPL team. And that tells me Solanke's one to back. So it's tight. I agree with you. I give you that. And Darwin's more fun, no question.
Yeah. I don't know. He's, like I said, not a horrible pick, but I just think there's better picks than him. Let's take a look at some fixtures then. Fixtures for the week. Oh, made that a little bit too big. There you go. So let's go through these. Big game. First thing, Saturday. Another 12:30 kickoff for Liverpool. So again, there's going to be question marks around Darwin in this game because he hasn't started the ones where he's had to come back from international duty and play the early kickoff. I've gone for a 3-2 City. You've gone for a 2-2, both back in goals.
I think it will be Diaz, Jota, Salah, won't it? Do you not think?
Given by what we've seen, I think it's a high possibility.
Or maybe even Gakpo.
It's just tricky because I don't think we've seen Darwin playing as well as he's been. So it might be Klopp this time says he's in too good a moment to leave out. Oh God, moment? That sounds like De Zerbi. That's what he says.
Yeah, I mean, earlier I said I thought Klopp would go toe-to-toe with Pep and go for goals. So maybe Darwin is that factor. But the problem is Gakpo and Jota are there now. And Jota's normally the player he relies on in some form in these big games. And Diaz, I think he will start Diaz. I know he's had off-field issues, but he's come back and his father's situation has been sorted now, thankfully. And I think that he is a key player when fit for them. I think he's probably first choice on that left side when he's fit and available. So he could play Gakpo in the middle and Jota left, but I think he will play Diaz left and Jota in the middle and Salah right, I think what he'll go with, which I mean Darwin will be an impact sub, which he might need and he might still be effective. But I think, I think there'll be goals, as do you. You've gone City win. I think it'll be tight. I've gone 2-2.
Yep. Burnley West Ham, I've gone for a first Burnley win. Is it first Burnley win for the one?
Have you? Yeah, they've got a win. They won at Luton.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Second one then.
But Mubama goal for West Ham, but a defeat for them. You've gone for
on your bench.
Yeah, I mean West Ham. If Bowen, Antonio, and Kudus are out, they're in trouble, aren't they, in attacking terms? And defensively, as Areola owners will tell you, and I'm one of them, they're not great at keeping opponents out. I'd like to think this could be a clean sheet for West Ham, but I don't think it will be.
I don't see it. I think we've seen Burnley maybe adapt a little bit more, try and play a little bit more defensive, go back to their roots in previous games. But I think they're going to attack this game. Again, I think it's a game that I just think was prime for Bowen, because I think Burnley are going to come out and try and win this, especially with the injuries they've got. I think that's going to kind of boil them up a little bit to try and go for the win. So, yeah, it should be an interesting game. I've gone for 2-1. Luton Palace. It took me ages to think of this one. I couldn't really. There's a part of me wanted to go for a Luton win, but I think under Hodgson, I think Palace just have a little bit more know-how to break them down, and we'll just see it out with Eze back. They've just got that ability to unlock.
The only thing is, Palace have got this inherent weakness at set plays. I don't think it's been as evident this season as it was last. And, if you're Luton, you're going to go for that. So that could be a route to success for Luton. I think know-how is exactly what
not just set pieces, but crosses in general. No team's putting more crosses than Luton so far this season. I think Doty is like second most crosses in the league.
Right.
So that is either first or second. So it's definitely going to be an area they look to target. And Gahey and Anderson are going to be on top form. But I just think Palace will edge it.
Yeah, I mean, Doty is a one-off differential as another player that could be an option this week.
He's a fun pick.
Yeah, I'm going for Palace win. I think Eze will be a factor here, because I think Luton will be hard to break down. And they're a team where you need a bit of individual brilliance, someone who can unlock defences by beating one or two players. I think the Liverpool game showed that. Liverpool did struggle, even with the players they had, to find a way through. I think Eze at the moment is one of those players where you can give him the ball and he will fearlessly try and beat players, and that's what Liverpool didn't have on that game. They didn't really have a player. None of them really stepped up and did that or attempted that. It was a functional Liverpool team performance in that game rather than one that had individual brilliance in it, and they got a draw out of it. I think Palace actually, with Elise and Eze, have got the individual players who will unlock them. So I'm going for a win.
I think without one or the other, I think Luton could just do a number on Eze or Elise and kind of shut them down that way. But with both of them back potentially and a little bit more going on, I think they're gonna struggle. Interesting game next: Newcastle Chelsea. Obviously Newcastle with a really poor result. Chelsea, I don't know what happened in that game. Maybe one of the best games of football I've ever watched in my life. That game. Gomeris is back. There's some positive news, we think, around Botman, which might spell a bit of trouble for Lascelles. Not for this game, but in general.
Don't give me that. He's miles off.
You think he's miles off? Well, the rumours are he's going to dodge surgery, right?
Yeah, but I look ahead at the fixtures and think, New Year, I think they've got City at home. That's the game I think they're going to target. I don't think it'll be around. No, I just think the minute that was a knee injury for Botman, I think I've said this many times. A big player, knee injury is a bad injury for a centre back, because he's a big unit of a player. It's going to take time, and the fact they've even considered, so they sent him to a specialist. It's not a routine injury, is it? It's a complicated injury. So
all I meant was they were very understrength against Bournemouth. And now the internationals come back. They've got Gomeris back. They've had maybe positive news against for Botman, but not this game. So don't worry.
Not a factor.
Isak's coming back as well.
That's more significant.
Yeah, Wilson's going to be out. So they're just there's kind of, unlike Brighton, we've had like 3 new injuries in the international break. Matoma out, Stupidan's in a leg brace in a hotel room watching a game.
See, he's another one. He's like Botman. Oh, Stupinan's nearly back, and everyone was getting excited. What's happened? He's got his leg up on a
not him.
Shaved lawn.
I thought he was going to be back after the international break, and looks like he's going to be out for a while. I just think it's not going to be an easy game for Chelsea in this. St James's Park, going to want Newcastle to get back, because they haven't really been doing that well. I know they've been impressing a lot of people and Howard's obviously, but they're behind Manchester United. They're struggling a little bit in terms of results. So a big game for them, I think, at home.
Yeah, they've been huffing and puffing, haven't they? And I think this will be a win. I just want to back. I have to back Newcastle at home. Chelsea will test them, and Chelsea are going to go there with confidence. And at the moment, in Parma, they've got one of the best players in the Premier League. Again, it's Jackson and Sterling. Are they going to deliver though? I think Newcastle will edge it.
Yep. Forest Brighton, the Black Box Derby. Look at this. And we've both gone for, we had to really, didn't we, go for our respective teams winning. You've gone for a 2-0. We score in this game. 2-1 Brighton for me.
We've only lost 2 of our last 17 home games, and that was against Spurs and United, I think. And you're saying Brighton are going to be good enough with the injuries you've got to inflict our third defeat in 18 games at home.
I cannot put a Forest win. So take this one for a pinch of salt.
No, fair enough. But to back a Brighton win,
absolutely.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, we're up against it. De Zerbi's got his siege mentality, all these injuries. Forest. Spending all this money.
We found you very easy to cut apart last season, and we're a better team this season.
No, you didn't.
You haven't beaten us.
You didn't at the Amex.
You couldn't break us up. You couldn't break us down. You couldn't score. So
we didn't have Fatty, lovely little Fatty,
right,
and a Dingra.
Okay. Yeah, we've got
players that can hurt you. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a comfortable 2-0 for you.
I think for me, midfield, we're a lot stronger this year, and I don't think you're anywhere near as strong as you were last year in midfield. So I think we boss it in midfield this time. Last year you came and you played a lot of good football. You couldn't cut us through us, and we caught you on the break, and you played into our hands. This year I think it'll be a different game. I think it'll be more even on the possession, and it will come down to who takes their chances. I think we've got the better players at the moment. If Matoma was playing, I'd be different. But
I mean, you have drawn with Burnley and Luton at home.
Yeah, but I think those were games where we were starting to adjust to having the new system and the new players, and I think we're getting there now. The West Ham game was disappointing, but the Villa game was more about what we're going to be about. I hope, at home we're going to be, we're going to be well set up, strong defensively, and more effective with the ball. So I think we're going to win. Yeah, it's not often I come here and that.
No, I know. I've never heard you so confident about Forest. Yeah. It's a bit worrying, if anything. Sheffield United Bournemouth. I've gone for a 2-1 Bournemouth. You've gone for a 1-1.
By the way, you were on Gary Baldy Red, right? Talking about that game.
I was. Yep.
And Matt did say to me you weren't very optimistic.
I was a bit more balanced. I was professional on that. I can be a bit more.
Whereas this, you are unprofessional. I see. Right.
I wouldn't say unprofessional. I would say
no. Okay. Yeah. Your bias is.
Come on, Forest Brighton. I've got to be a bit biased. My dad would never forgive me if I was on here saying how great Forest were and how you were going to smash us.
No, okay. Is Chris in chat? Is he giving you any?
I think my mum messaged me earlier to ask if she was listening. Okay. How sweet's
that? Sheffield United Bournemouth. You've gone 2-1 Bournemouth. So you're back in Solanke?
Nah, 2 Tavernier goals.
Right. Yeah, I
said it's a good fixture for Solanke this week. Obviously, it's a good fixture for him this week. I just don't think I'd want him in my team over the longer term. And I think if you get Solanke, you're pretty much committing to that for a longer period. Good fixture this week.
Sheffield United, will grind out another point here. It's a tough place to go when Sheffield United are finding their feet. I think they are. I think they're beginning to feel that they've got a way of getting points, and Bournemouth at home has got to be a game they target. They'll want 3 points. They'll be disappointed if they don't win it. And I think the pattern of the game will be that, Sheffield United will go in front, Bournemouth will peg them back, and then it'll be a rearguard effort to hold on for a point from Sheffield United, and they'll get it. Yeah, so I'm going with that. But yeah, Solanke could be the factor in this game. If they do win Bournemouth, it'll be Solanke who probably orchestrates it.
Captain, like, I hope the people that are saying they're going to do it, actually do go through with it. Brentford Arsenal, both gone for an Arsenal win here. You've gone to nil. I've given Brentford a goal.
Yeah, fair enough. Arsenal for me away from home, what was it? I mean, Andy North said 3 goals in 5. Yeah, I mean, having thought about it, Brentford will play the 3 at the back. They will have 2 up front, probably because of that. They may get some joy. But I'm okay. I'm okay for 2-0. I can't see Arsenal not getting the 3 points.
It's an interesting game because Arsenal obviously very, very good defensively away from home. Brentford very, very good at home. I think Gabriel is a problem because he's gone away on international duty and not played well for Brazil. They're all out for his head after his 2 performances. A humiliating result against Argentina as well. They've never lost a qualifier at home, Brazil, until they played Argentina.
No, I didn't know that.
And lost. And there was all riots on the pitch, and a lot of them blaming Gabriel for the loss in that match and his defending in the game before.
Does Arteta care about that?
Absolutely not. But it might play on Gabriel's mind, and also he hasn't really been a rock, has he, for Arsenal this season?
No, but he's not playing against Brentford.
I'm not saying he won't play. I'm saying it might boost Brentford's chance of scoring at least 1 goal in this match. I don't think, basically why I'm talking about that is because I think if you are moving early for Mbeumo in this match, to get him ahead, I don't think it's a given that Arsenal keep a clean sheet, even though it...
No, I agree. I think there's logic in going in Mbeumo early, particularly if price is an issue. So, yeah, I agree. I think there could be some joy here. But I just think Arsenal will get an early goal and then see it out and nick a late one to win it 2-0. But, Steve, the narrative could be different.
Yeah, Steve, I don't hate Solanke. He's fine. I just said there's a lot of people buying him.
Steve. I don't know.
A lot of people buying him. I think there's better options. I'd rather have Darwin. That's all I said.
Yeah, it does swing to extreme, Steve. If you've watched the show before, you will know that.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. Spurs Villa. This is the fun game, isn't it? I've gone for a 3-2 Villa.
Wow.
In this one,
is that the game on live? Don't tell me. Oh no, it is on live. Yeah. Not a Garden Centre game.
Definitely not a Garden Centre game. That is the game, is it? And that's why I want a captain in that game. I think Haaland's a great pick, but I think a Son or a Watkins in this game is just going to make for it's surely going to be an entertaining game, right? It's got all the hallmarks of something that's going to be really fun.
It better be. I mean, I don't want my captain in the early kickoff either. And
I think
City
I can't
Liverpool.
Watch it. I think it's my mum's birthday. I think we're going to a carvery. I don't think I can actually see it.
Wait, what can't you watch? You can't watch
Spurs,
City Liverpool.
No, Spurs Villa.
Right. So you're not going to a Garden Centre. You're going to a carvery.
Going to a carvery, yeah.
Does your mum realise that you're missing the Spurs Villa game?
Well, I don't think she cares, Mark, to be honest. Mum, if you're watching, do you reckon we could move the carvery a little bit later? It's her birthday.
Is it just you, or is Yelena going, or what's
Yelena will be there as well. Yeah,
so you're making her miss the game as well.
Mark,
so she doesn't get to watch McGinn
my
play.
mum won't be happy with your attitude in this. She thinks very highly of you. You should be saying, as it's your mum's birthday, you need to do what you can to make her happy.
I understand, but I think at her birthday she'll want your full attention, and I don't think she can ask that of you when you've got Spurs Villa going on at the same time. You'll have your phone out. You watch. You'll be like 2 minutes into the meal. Oh, I'm just going to go to the toilet for the third time in the last half hour. And I've been there. I know what that's like. And it's like you're not giving your all to your loved ones, right? So I am thinking of her in a way.
In a roundabout way. Yeah. No, well, I appreciate that. Someone's asked in the chat, what's a carvery, Joe Bob? Come on.
Well, in Hitchin, that's a good night out.
Won't be in Hitchin, be in Brentwood, where they're from.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a Toby though. Toby's a good.
Nothing wrong with Hitchin.
It's a harvester.
Before the Hitchin massive come after me. They've got a long way to go because I'm out of the country. But when I'm back, I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, you've got to come to Hitchin soon, don't you, for the Match of the Day challenge?
Yes. Yeah, and we met a local, didn't we? Who's moved to Hitchin at the Always Cheating event. Yeah, we're going to have a proper night out. Hopefully.
We are. Yeah, absolutely.
A few more.
We'll talk about captains in a bit because I think we're both on the same captain for now, but I think mine is more viable to change. We've both gone for an Everton win here. I completely agree with you about Everton. I think this is a game that they'll target. We've seen the data's good for them. We know Manchester United are struggling, even though they are the informed team in the Premier League over their last 5 games, more points than anyone else. But we've both gone for a 2-1 Everton.
Yeah, I mean, United aren't finding goals easy to come by, are they? Everton's data is strong. We know they've had a goal threat all season. And, I mean, the spirit and the atmosphere in that stadium will be off the scale, I would have thought. Tim. I think that, I'm pretty confident in Everton win here. And I think United will be not thanking the Premier League for dishing out that penalty before they go to Goodison Park. It's a bit of a nightmare, I think, for them.
And then finally, Fulham versus Wolves on the Monday night. Garden Centre game, probably, but probably Garden Centre's
closed if you can find one at 8 o'clock at night on Monday.
Yeah.
It's not a must watch, is it? I mean, part of the reason why I might go 8-0 is just give me a reason to watch the game. To be honest.
I'll be watching and I won't care what happens, but
I mean, your mum could move her meal to 8 o'clock on Monday night.
That'd be nice of her. Yeah, that'd be nice of her.
I ought to stop because I'm probably upsetting her deeply.
Do you know what though? I love a carvery. So
what are you going to have? Are you going to have like a mix of?
Oh yeah, all the meats. Do
you have all the meats?
Yeah, of course, all the meat. Yeah, you're probably like a dry turkey type guy, aren't you? Just go for that and.
What do you mean?
Or you go in and go, can I have the fillet steak, please? And they go, we don't do that.
I do
here,
like
Mark.
a fillet steak.
We don't do a carvery.
We went out for dinner, didn't we? And I ordered the fillet steak, and you went, "Oh, of course,
obviously."
Why? What did you?
Fillet steak and a cocktail. I was like, obviously. Didn't Billy have a fillet steak as well?
I don't know. He's got expensive taste. What can I say?
Of course he does.
I would go. I would probably go for the pork. Actually, a pork or beef, I would go. But you're going to go both, are you?
I'll go everything. Yeah, you get the lot, and you get the sausages as well, chipolatas and the Yorkshire puddings. And I always put my biggest smile and I go, can I have an extra one?
Extra what?
Yorkshire. They give you one.
Oh right, do they give them out? Is it like a school canteen?
Yeah, they give you one, and then you know, it's taking the piss a little bit to ask for another one. But I smile and say, don't you know who I am? And they go, no, obviously not. And I go, oh, and then they give me one. Pity.
In this case, they go, well, you can't be that fella off BlackBox because what would you be doing missing Spurs Villa?
Good point. Don't you know it's 4-4 and your captain's scored a hat-trick? I hope so.
Anyway, enough carvery talk. I know the listener is loving every minute of that. But...
there's something else I was going to say. Oh, we had a super chat from Odin. Considering going for Edouard for Nketiah and benching Darwin this week. Oh, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I saw him post this earlier, I think. I think he was in the Discord, actually. He posted it. No. I mean, I know Edouard's done well this season, and he could be the player to profit if Luton do concede to Palace. I think the problem with Palace is where it's hard to pin down where the goals are going to come from because they've got Ayew, they've got Eze, they've got Elise, and they've got Edouard. And any of those 4 players could contribute goals in a win for Palace. So I think it's hard to pin the tail on the donkey there, quite literally, and find the Palace likely scorer. It's not. I don't know. He's got Nketiah, is he? So he's thinking of selling Nketiah for Edouard and benching Darwin. Yeah, I mean, we don't think Darwin will start, do we? And I think if you can get that early team news and Darwin is on the bench, then it's not a bad punt for 1 week. I don't think. If it's a free as well.
Yeah, I think if it's for free, like you say, when we know Darwin isn't going to start, then yes. I think if we don't get news, then I probably wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't really want to have Edouard in my team. I'd rather go for Solanke, for example, or Taiwo.
Okay.
I'd go for Taiwo. I'd go Nketiah to Taiwo.
Well, especially at home to Brighton, because
exactly
we should carve them open.
The one goal you get might be scored by him. As we were saying, there's adverts on YouTube. I thought I'd turn those off. I put the midstream.
No,
I don't know why.
It's really annoying.
I don't know why they've added midstream bloody.
No,
adverts.
We don't set it.
No.
And obviously we want to have ads on there, but not until we
during
put the video.
Not during we're live. That's ridiculous.
No.
Yeah, really annoying.
I mean, without the ads, how's ads going to afford more neon signs that are?
How are you going to afford more expensive trips to Bulgaria.
But I don't pay for this, obviously. But that's probably even worse.
It is a bit, yeah. Captain conversation. We've got the.
Is there one? There is.
Oh no, this is last week's. This hasn't been updated.
What have you done? You didn't update it.
Let's go to another screen. Let's go to this screen instead. Who are you thinking captaincy wise then? I mean, Son. It's on Son for you at the moment, is it?
Yeah. I think that like I said earlier, I think there's enough to suggest that Villa will concede chances to Spurs, and even without Maddison, I think Son will get. I expect Son to come out of that game with 3 or 4 shots, and I think we know that Son's capable of converting, even low quality chance. Like I said, I think it will be. I think Spurs. I think I said a 2. Did I go a 2-1 Spurs? So I think Son will get something from that. For me, it's just the penalties, the extra point for the midfield goals. I don't want Salah or Haaland in the early kickoff, even though I think there will be goals in that game. There's plenty of players on the pitch who could get those goals. Whereas I think if Spurs are going to beat Villa, Son's got to return, I would say. I think it's very unlikely that Spurs beat Villa and Son comes out with nothing. We didn't talk about Brennan when we looked at midfielders previously. Brennan Johnson doesn't appear highly on this table. If you go to the last 6 matches, though, he certainly does. So having said that Son's probably the only likely scorer for Spurs, Brennan could be a factor. And, he's been... Over the last 6, if you bring the midfielders up last 6, he's figured highly.
Sorry, last 6.
Yeah, and he took his goal well at Wolves. In that he got in a good position for that. There he is, 5th on the table, 0.61 xG, iron on penalty per 90. A lot of that is boosted by the chance he laid on for Son at Palace, which he converted, which was a high quality chance, and the chance he got at Wolves, which he scored, which was right on 2 yards out. So can't read too much into that XGI, but I know Brennan is a player who can score goals, convert chances. So he's not a bad option either if you want a 1-week punt.
Wow.
Because I do think that, he's going to be someone who factors heavily in that game. He's going to be... will he play left or right? Kulusevski plays... Where does Kulusevski play? Left or right?
Right. Brennan's on the left.
So Brennan's on the left. He'll be up against Cash, which would be very interesting because they know each other. And I think Cash will struggle with Brennan. I think Brennan's got the pace on him. So, yeah, he's not a bad option in that game either. But for me, Son returns in a Spurs win, so I'm going to go Son.
I fixed the table, by the way. There you go.
Yeah, well done.
Got better at doing these on the
on the fly. Yeah, let's leave it all to the last minute and do it live on the show.
Yeah, why not? Do the whole thing. Just quickly looking at this table. I mean, Nunes is actually top of this. But obviously comes with massive risk. Haaland is second. I think that's the safe. I expect Haaland to get points in that game. So you've got to be comfortable that he's going to get that, and you need your other player to do better. I think the potential, I think maybe we've got this week, that we might have in some other weeks, is that we have got that Villa Spurs game, which looks prime for goals. So you got Son and Watkins in that, like we've mentioned. Other than that, not really a huge amount I like. Salah is obviously a great pick if you wanted to go that, but Man City at home. Saka potentially against Brentford, but Brentford are strong at home. And then someone like Trippier, but it wouldn't be too surprising if Chelsea scored in that. So for me, it's between Haaland, Watkins and Son as the main ones.
Yeah, it's Haaland or Son for me. I'm just going to go Son because I kind of want to enjoy that City-Liverpool game without wanting to be skewed by having my captain in it. And I think that I want to watch, while you're tucking into 4 courses of various meats, I want to enjoy the Spurs and your extra Yorkshire pudding, which really goes against the rules of the carvery.
It does, absolutely.
I want to be cheering my captain in that game, and I think I will be with Son.
Yep. Zvobomir says, top 20k considering free hit due to using early transfers. Is that bad? You don't want to be using your free hit if you can afford it. Just take a hit.
Yeah, why does he need to free hit?
I'm guessing moved early for Bowen, potentially.
Yeah, I think we know the free hit is something you want to save. I mean, I don't think the double game weeks will be as significant this season. How bad does it get, Zoromir? I mean, I think that I wouldn't hesitate to take it -4. Particularly if you're moving to Mbomo, who, is a player you're going to want in 14 anyway. So it depends on if it's a -8. Maybe. I mean, have you got no one on the bench at all? Have you got no? I mean, like even Cameron Archer's coming off for some people this week, and home to Bournemouth. I don't think he's a player you're gonna love starting him, but I don't think it's a bad fixture.
The trouble is as well. I mean, we don't know like if Matoma's going to be out for a few weeks, if Bowen's going to be out for a few weeks, if you've got. Like I was looking at David's team earlier, and he's got like a Stupinan and Van de Ven and all these players. Like the free hit could often just be a band-aid, can't it? You put
How's he managed that?
I have not. He's 30k in the world as well. It's absolutely smashing.
He won't be for long.
No, but if David was to free hit, he'd just come back with all those same players again the week after. So you need to have that in mind and not just patch it up. You might just need to take a -4 or -8 just to clear.
Yeah, -4 is not a big deal. Because especially if you're getting a player in long term and you can get a 0-1 rise out of it, that's some compensation. I mean, -8, that might be hard to swallow, and maybe you would consider it. But I still think the free hit is worth holding on to until the second half of the season when we start getting a picture of the doubles and the blanks. I don't think they'll be as significant this season as they have been in previous seasons, but I still think the free hit is something you want to keep up your sleeve. So. Take the hits, Solomir, or look to your bench. And if you've got a Cameron Archer, or if you've got like a Lascelles at home to Chelsea, I don't think there's any problem in playing them.
Yeah, agreed. David James Whiteway has paid £2. They don't vote for the Conservatives. I'll read it out.
Thanks for the heads up. I didn't need that, but yeah, thanks.
There's not much I won't read out for £2, but yeah.
As I'll do anything for £2.
I will.
And even make this a political podcast and stream for the basis of that.
And for its worth, David, I do agree. So yeah, don't do that.
Well, we didn't need that prompt. I don't think. Who was he calling buffoons?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's definitely avoid this.
Yeah.
We have got there is another super chat that we'll come to in a bit, but for now, I think that's all the super chats done. Let's take a look.
Oh, have we done the one from earlier?
No, I've got that saved. We'll do that right at the end.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, do that last thing. This is my team. How I'm set up. I've got Areola in goal. Can't stand him, want him out, but probably going to leave him. Gabriel, who I also don't want. Livramento, who's a problem probably going forward, but at least he's going to play this week because Hall is on loan from Chelsea. I'm playing Kabore, but I'm probably going to sell Cash. I think Cash to Gahey is probably the move that I'm going to do.
Right.
And then I've got Salah, Son currently captain, but that could be Watkins, Saka, Diaby, Adingra, and Haaland. And then,
it's your defence that's the problem.
That's why I want. That's why I want to make I think I need to make a defensive move. It's not the most exciting, but I think getting Gahey in is probably quite a sensible move. I mean, I could just play Kabore and just hope that Luton keep it tight and they struggle to find a way through, and keep Cash, because then obviously Cash has got Bournemouth next week, isn't he? Which you would think would be a good game for him.
Not an easy game though, is it? That Bournemouth, is it Bournemouth away? I think
Bournemouth
it is
away. Yeah. I just think, when you just look at a player, you think your time is done. Like, you've had all right fixtures, you haven't really been getting many points, your stats have dropped off, you've got some tough games coming up.
And by the time his fixtures turn, his value will have dropped, and you can probably go back to him if you want.
Yeah.
You're not going to play Archer over Adingra? You don't think? Archer's more likely to get something than Adingra?
We're going to win 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Archer, I could play Archer Adingra. If I wasn't a Brighton fan, I might consider it, but... Right. Adingra at the moment is looking our most likely source of goals, so I'm going to play him. But if you are having to play Archer this week, if you've got Bowen and you bought him in early, and you have to play Archer, it's not exactly horrific, is it?
And you know what? I wouldn't necessarily hate playing Tsimikas. You're not going to get a clean sheet, but I think, as we know, he can be a provider of chances, and I think if you're backing goals, why he could come out of that with an assist.
Yeah.
So I think I'd rather play Tsimikas than take a -8. Put it that way.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Your team? You got Areola in goal, just like me, and then we've got very similar players. Same with two.
Lascelles, Trippier, Gabriel, Saka, Diaby, Son, Salah, Palmer, Haaland, Watkins. So I've got Palmer playing against two defenders at the moment. Cash will go. Cash will go, and it'll probably be Aït-Nouri or Toffolo or Mikalenko. I don't know yet. I like the Aït-Nouri pick, but the bookings do make me worry a bit, as does the rotation if I have to hold him over Christmas. I don't plan to, but I might. You never know. You can't say I'm getting this player in, then I'm going to sell him in 2 weeks' time, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, no.
So you know what it's like. You can get stuck with a player, can't you? And it's like, oh, why did I ever get him in? Now he's a real problem. So I worry about that. But I like the upside, and I kind of, when I didn't play Simicast last week, I played the sells over Simicast, when really I should have gone the upside pick. I should have backed him to start. I guess the Gomez injury was unforeseen. And at that point, I said to myself, all right, I've always got to go with the upside, because when I've done that this season, I've managed to come in more often than not. So that's what's behind the 8 Norway pick, that I think he's a pure upside pick for 1 week, and he could get a clean sheet and maybe an assist or even a goal at Fulham. You never know. So, I'll probably will do that, and then I'll play 8 Norway, Trippier, Gabriel, which is okay. I mean, Trippier, you've got to play in every game. Yeah. He'll offer you something. Palmer will, I think Chelsea will score, so I don't expect a clean sheet there. But yeah, the rest of the team is really solid. Diaby will go next week to Mbumo, and then what do I do after that? I'm not selling Saka, Son, Salah, Palmer really, unless, like you say, Son starts to worry me, but I don't know. I'm not at that point yet. He's such an elite player. We're talking top 3 FPL assets, I think. So I'm not going to go against him yet.
Yeah, and you settled on the captaincy from them.
Yeah, I'll go with Son, Haaland, Vice, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're probably gonna have quite similar weeks then. So either I'll drag you down to my whatever it is, or you'll pull me up. We have to see whether your jab or my curse is, because that's obviously all it is, just completely low.
Oh yeah, it's down to that. There's other forces at work, clearly. Yeah,
absolutely. Black Box Leagues. Shout out to our top 10 in the main Black Box League: Hardick S, Joe Cassidy, Nicholas Reginson, Josh Hinchcliffe, Kevin Prendergast, Gerard McIntyre, Dan Carrillo, Tom Imre, Stephen Hossef, and Ikla Hujen. And then we've got the Apprentice League. Poor Nat, still struggling down the bottom. 46 points for her this week. I've overtaken Ryan to go into third by 2 points. 20 points behind Liesel in seconds. And yeah, you're doing all right, aren't you?
Got the members one as well, have you?
Of course. Got the members one. We've got Avi Fruchter in first place with 816, having a cracking start to the season. Richard Smith in second. Ken Mia in third, Nick Baker in fourth, Mr. Mark Sutherland's in fifth. Chris Tange in sixth. I think I pronounced his name wrong. I think Chris messaged me and said I got it wrong, but I can't remember what he said. Tanyi?
It's Sarabia? Or...
Yeah, it's well that again. Sorry, Chris, it's not just you. Pratik in seventh, Conor Gray in eighth, Henning in joint eighth, and Tarek in 10th. Thanks all for being members. And like we've said throughout, if you're interested in joining in the Discord channel, to join the Discord channel, just sign up to any of the Black Box tiers, and to join the WhatsApp group, you need to be in.
I can't join any Discord events of the weekend. Nigel's doing an event on Saturday for the Man City Liverpool game, so if you're a member, you can join the chat and talk amongst the group while we're watching the game together. I'll probably join that. I'll be on my way to Forest, so I'm going to try and join on the mobile on that. And then Sunday, I've got a family do as well, so I've just remembered I'm going to miss the
way. Where are you going? Please tell me you're going to a carvery.
It's my sister's daughter's birthday. Does that make her my niece? It does, doesn't it? I don't know. It's 1:00 in the morning here. I don't know what that.
Do you want me to go on a rant about how she should move her birthday and how she's inconsiderate?
Yeah, look, I'll only have the one Yorkshire pudding, right? Okay, but
that's karma.
So I've just realised the realisation is that I will miss the Villa Spurs game, and I won't have my captain. I won't be able to watch them. It's ruined. It's ruined this entire stream for me now that I've remembered that. So thanks.
Well, you should
enjoy your beef.
You shouldn't have been so rude to my darling mother, should you? That's all I'm going to say.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mrs. Phillips. So's my right, doesn't it? Absolutely serves my right.
Great stuff. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Like we had about 1,200 people watching. We got nearly 1,400 watching the final bits.
Amazing.
Of this. Haaland won the vote, by the way. Who'd you rather own? 58% to 42% versus Salah.
We've got the super chat that you left to the end. Let's do that.
And I would definitely have forgotten that. Well done. Yeah, so the super chat from Mocha. was Mitoma and Pedro to Bowen and Solanke has been done. Oof.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's an early transfer. So you've been banging on about early transfers all year.
Well, you do it at the early part of the season when prices are more significant. This is about the time you start to go, we can calm it down a bit now. So, yeah, I do like an early transfer, but
so that's
game week 12, it starts to get to a point where you don't need to.
Anyway, that's done. So there's nothing we can do about that.
Right.
So the -4's done. It's Johnston in goal with Cash, Saliba, Simicas, and Akanji. Interesting. And Kabore. And then Salasson, Bruno, Bowen, Gordon, Haaland, Solanke, Mubama. So basically, it's going to be Saliba, and then 2 of Cash, Simicas, Akanji, Kabore. I don't like any of those. So defensively, you're in a few issues, Mocha. And then it's Salasson, Bruno, Bowen, Gordon. Well, Bowen's not going to play. And then Haaland, Solanke, Mubama. Mubama's not going to play. So you need to deal with.
Right.
We need to deal with Bowen.
It's got to be Bowen who goes.
Yeah.
Right? And he's done his 2 transfers, so he's got to take a hit, has he?
Yeah. It's Bowen to Eze, probably, isn't it?
Or Mbomo, because he hasn't got Mbomo, has he?
Yeah.
I would probably... Depend. Where is he in the world? Does he say he's ranked?
No.
Is he pushing? Mbomo's a safe option because you're going to want him for 14. So at least you'll take a hit this week, but you'll get ahead of the move for game week 14 that you probably want to do. And as we've said, Brian could easily get something against Arsenal. So I think that's what I do. Very bad luck though with the transfers. It's. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's tough. Like as I said at the start of the show, normally the international breaks, they're phantom injuries and we come out okay. But the last couple has been quite painful. This one, the Bowen injury, he was the most bought player.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? Over the break, because Maddison to Bowen made sense.
I know.
And I've got to say again, I've been lucky again because Bowen, if I hadn't have played my wild card, my transfer that I would have made that week would have been Bowen in. And I would have been now with a problem. So he was a player that I was coveting to the point of, being very close to bringing him in.
Yeah, same.
And I've managed to dodge another injury. I mean, I've done it with Maddison this year. I got rid of him before his injury. I got rid of Saka before his injury. It has been, I know Andy and you don't like to point it out, but I have had some luck.
Oh, we'd never do that. all skill, yeah. And then you see things like that, don't you? And you think, oh, that could have been me in that situation. Yeah, I think I'd go for Eze just because the team looks a bit weak this week, and then you've still got the route to Mbeumo with Gordon next week for Luton. So I'd maybe leave for that, but yeah, I think if you go for Mbeumo, it's a good.
The thing is, sometimes you look at your team and think, oh god, they've got a tough fixture. Newcastle playing Chelsea, Akanji against Liverpool. Will he get there? And sometimes you'd be surprised how it turns out.
Yeah.
So they're still quality players at the end of the day. Gordon's a quality player. So even though he's got a tough fixture, and Akanji is in a City defence, which is the best in the league.
If he starts.
Yeah. So Liverpool should score, but you never know. It could be a 1-0 City or 2-0 City. He's a quality player in a quality team when he starts. So it's not all bad there. So there's Dean. Now, Dean. He really should be looking at colours for his nursery, but he's come back. Andy had Metro score his first. Yeah, exactly. That's good point. Good point, Dean. When Andy comes at me with the luck, I got rid of Alvarez because he bullied me, and to the point where I had to get rid of Alvarez. When Andy comes back, nothing defeats the Mitchell luck that he had with that goal.
Absolutely outrageous, isn't it? We're finished on this from Matt France as well about Bowen's injuries. The curse the most transferred in again. I think it is literally every week, isn't it? Every week so far this season, the most transferred in player has blanked. They are literally cursed.
It's a cruel game, as we know, and some of us are getting the crueler side, and you've been amongst them, and I've been fortunate. So I must be a little bit drunk, because I don't know why I'm admitting.
I know, I'm taking that. We're definitely in the stream on that. Thanks everyone for watching. Mark, thanks for joining me. Go have another. Don't go and have another old fashioned. Go and.
Should I go and hit the money bar?
I'll go to bed.
It is 1 a.m.
Got work tomorrow, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, we're travelling back, so it won't be too bad.
Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me anyway from Bulgaria.
No worries. Yeah, and I'll be with Andy on Friday night for late tackle.
Yep, beautiful stuff. I will probably see you there and see everyone very soon.